Hi. But yeah, we were just talking about the new Assassin's Creed behind the scenes.
Yeah,
And about how I've
exactly.
been meaning to talk about it on the stream, but it feels like getting stuck in the weeds. But you're making a point that the Metatron says if you're going to do history, you need to be. What was he saying? That was a good quote you just gave me. The Metatron said about when you're doing
If
something
you
historical.
uh,
Yeah.
if you are going to do a historic, piece of historic fiction, okay, yes, you can be fictional with it, but you have a certain obligation to that history, especially if you put out a statement that says how historically accurate your thing is and how great it is that you can enjoy the game and have fun with it while learning actual history. Well, now you're honor bound to be true to that history.
And something that they did in the past games is they would have you play a fictional character, but he might interact or she might interact with actual historical figures. But in this one, they have you playing an actual historical figure, I guess, to give reason to why you'd be playing a black character in Japan. But then, of course,
Right.
we found out that the history behind this person has been reshaped by certain quote unquote historians. So that's an issue. But like I said, maybe we'll cover it one of these weeks. But
Yeah,
I just
and
it's not going to get any better. Trust me. Japan's
no, no, absolutely not.
furious.
Another thing that
It reminded me of the Cleopatra situation actually, with how what was it? Was it Egypt that was getting angry about that? Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I've
yeah,
drawn that correlation too.
yeah.
And again, we were saying in the backdrop that the one channel that I was surprised is covering it this much. I shouldn't be though.
Hmm.
Is the Metatron.
Right.
He's an Italian linguist and historian, and I'm realizing more and more he's a gamer too.
Yeah.
And he doesn't normally talk about gaming, but now this is entered into his wheelhouse, and he has plenty of videos up about that Egyptian thing, the Cleopatra, and he's debated back and forth and really ripped into other channels regarding the whole was Cleopatra African black and so on and so forth. But he's been he pointed this out, and I think Smash JT got into this a little bit too. When you look at the history of Assassin's Creed, and you look at the fact that they had, every time they do a different period in history,
Yes.
you're playing a character from that country.
Yeah. Like even in the one that took place during the Revolutionary War in America, you were playing, I think, a member of an American Indian tribe, but that's still an American. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
So
Someone
yes,
who belongs in that setting.
in that culture, yes.
The closest thing you could say, well, wait, what about? I guess there's one where you play on a pirate ship and you're playing a Welsh person. Well, and you're in the Caribbean. Well, you're in the Caribbean playing a pirate. The pirates,
Yes.
by and large, weren't Caribbean.
A
They
lot of them
were
were from England,
European.
from Great Britain. Of course, if I'm following the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, you had pirates from various parts of the world, including a French pirate that looked like a fop and had the powdered makeup on his face.
Yeah,
Which
I
I
mean
know that
it's
those movies. I'm just kidding. I'm just saying.
and yeah,
Yeah, but
it's another thing. Well, and Metatron points this out too, where yes, there is the ability to do some plausible diversity, right? I mean, if you were doing that Welsh captain, it would be entirely possible and appropriate to have a former slave, for example, as one of your crew. That
sure,
would be entirely possible.
yeah,
Someone from the Caribbean could join
because
the
that's
crew
the
and so
history.
forth. Absolutely, those things make
Yes,
perfect sense. Especially if you're doing something plausible but not based on any actual person. That's how historical fiction actually works. But he says so. This current one set in Japan, and you chose to make the main character this obscure black character and saying, well, it really happened. Okay, now you have two problems. Now you've got to be true to that real person,
yes.
and two, you have just insulted all Japanese players because they can't play as themselves. They can't see themselves in
In the
your game.
game that takes
You
place in Japan.
chose to not represent the country that you set this in.
I think I heard the female character you can play in as Chinese. At least that's what Deleted Scenes was saying. So, and I'm like, really?
And
You neither
therein
character you
lies a
play as is
problem
Japanese
too,
in this
for a
game that takes
whole
place
other
in Japan.
racial thing. This is that whole concept of the ugly American too, because they're projecting.
Ubisoft is not an American company.
Okay, ugly Westerner then.
Yes. Okay.
It's this generation of Westerners who don't understand. Hell, they don't even understand their own culture well enough to be able to manage these kinds of knots. They assume that everyone in the world has the same culture as you do, and they really, really don't. The history and the cultural issues between China and Japan are very, very meaty, and you need to understand them, or you're walking on cultural landmines.
Yeah. Ubisoft actually is a Canadian company, and I want to be clear. I look at it as a French-Canadian company.
Oh, that's American Light.
No, but it's French-Canadian, and I think they also have. I can't say this for sure, but I also think they have. There's a lot of French influence in the company, maybe even from France. Maybe they even have a studio in France. I'm not sure, but it strikes me as a very French company, which was fine. And they made my favorite game of the 6th generation of consoles, which was Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. That was an excellent game. And I like their other series, too. They did Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. They did the Rayman games. Rayman is like their mascot character, kind of like a Mario or a Sonic.
That actually makes it worse, though. If they're a French company... Well, we'll get into that a little bit later. Clearly, they have some issues understanding culture and reading the cultural room, so to speak.
Welcome, everybody, to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Agent Boomer. This is my co-host, PaPa Pacelli.
Hello. Yeah, starting with a rant tonight.
Well, it's
the good old days. Let's bitch about the present.
Well, we're not going to do good old days tonight. I had planned on it, but it was Comic-Con this weekend, and there's just too much news to cover, so we just got to get into it, so I'll save it for next week. But I even had one planned, had all the stills up, and I'm like, no, we got to save it. We got to table it, because it's a lot of news broke over the weekend, actually, at a certain convention.
Yeah.
Some Marvel news, some DC news, too. Are we excited?
No.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, we'll get into it when we get there later. Some people
but I'll explain why.
Okay. All right. Welcome, Chris P. Good evening to you. Looking forward to the live stream tonight. Thank you. Horizon Talker, welcome. Curtis Selby, welcome. Big Al, welcome. I was on Big Al's channel on Friday. You may want to check it out. We did a Robin of Sherwood Season 2, Episode 1 and 2 commentary. That was the great episode where you finally got to see Prince John in those first two. Yeah. And there's a wonderful scene where I guess I think Little John was captured in the dungeon, but they let him out on a prison detail to help fix the walls of the castle. And there's a scene where Little John asks one of the guards, "Who's the man in the fancy crown?" And the guard says, "That's Prince John, you villain." It's like,
yeah.
Prince John was suitably awful on this show.
Yeah. History is not kind to Prince John.
No, I mean, yeah. And the actor who played him, he's been on other British series, really good. But anyway, did I say Curtis Selby, Horizon Talker? Who else is here tonight? Chris P, Netter of Netter's Network. Thank you. Welcome. All right. Where is everybody? We have and Lady Mist, welcome. And Mark Malnikoff, welcome.
Oh, hey, Mark.
From the greetings from the depths of Praxis, dilithium mines. Oh, that's what they were mining on Praxis.
Oh yeah.
Leia Plus Size, welcome. Always welcome here about the Leia Plus Size. Hope you're doing well. I know you can. I think she's been on Wolf 10's stream sometimes too. Mm-hmm. FKHC 2005, welcome. And Depensec, welcome. Okay, everyone's here. And I should actually add this to the stage. Geeky Geezers. Oh, look at all this imagery. Oh, boy. This one's going to be a night.
I had some fun with this one, obviously. Should I knock on wood when I say this? We didn't have an in memoriam this weekend. I was so happy. So yes. I was able to make use of that upper right corner there. Originally I had, I kind of went around. I went Marvel and then, into Disney. And then we started going up into streaming. We got into Warner Brothers in the upper right there, right? And and then gaming. up in the upper right. So I had these the controllers, screenshot up there by the gaming, and I'm like, no, I think I'm gonna put that down by Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wolverine, because it ties into the
and
box
I'm like,
office.
Oh, okay, I'll make use of that little corner that you usually can't see anything in because of the with aged.
Yes. So we have some interesting announcements tonight.
Yeah.
I guess we might as well just jump into it.
Yeah, let's jump right into it.
Here
So
we go.
yeah, we're going to the top of the thing with Disney. This is going to be some good stuff. Oh, and not to put words in your mouth tonight, Age of Boomer, but I'm putting words in your mouth right now because
yes.
Because now since I'm on your stream here, whenever I put something into StreamYard, it comes out as you.
This is a bizarre thing. Yes, there was a bit of a faux pas earlier tonight.
If I hadn't called it out, no one would have noticed.
No, I know. I'm technically streaming from Troy's StreamYard because I'm a partner now. He made me a what is it? A rent? He did something.
No,
so
it's more than a wrench. You're literally an administrator.
Administrator on his channel, but then I forgot to get off his channel when I was setting up the stream earlier. That's why I was wondering, why is everybody's face here except for me? I'm the one who runs the StreamYard, and then I had to add
there
myself.
You go. Exactly.
And that's what happened here. But here we are. We're going to talk about lovely Gina Carano here. I think this was a picture that was from an article when she got let go.
Yeah.
They were saying, oh, she was saying some awful things. Hold on. Let me find my notes. Give me one.
I'll tell you what's great. I'm getting a little ahead of you here, but this whole case, the discovery on this is going to be, chef's kiss of the demonstration that we all talk about. The internet is forever, and they are literally going to be using social media posts from Disney members, people that work for Disney, against them. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, so Disney's motion to dismiss Gina Carano's lawsuit has been denied. That's the big news. Let me read a bit from the article, if my word ever pops up here. There
Mark
we go.
says I need to tell you to get off my lawn.
Funny. In court documents obtained by That Park Place, U.S. District Judge Sherilyn P. Scarnett has denied the request by the Walt Disney Company to dismiss Gina Carano's lawsuit with Gina Carano and her lawyers against the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm's attempt to dismiss her case. According to Judge Garnett, Disney, Lucasfilm, and Huckleberry have failed to set forth an impenetrable defense under the First Amendment. The court denies defendant's motion. Which, I'm sorry, I thought that was always going to get denied. It at least has to go to court. They still may win, but it has to go to court. Yeah. Carano filed her lawsuit against the Walt Disney Company back in February with suit detailing it is a civil action arising from defendants' wrongful termination of Carano's employment and retaliation for Carano's lawful exercise of her right to speak and express her views. Specifically, defendants under the regime of former Disney CEO Bob Chapek. Oh, it was his fault. It's a joke. Sorry. Yeah. Fired Carano because of her posts on various social media platforms, including X, formerly known as Twitter. Carano composed and published the posts while she was off duty and away from the workplace. The suit also alleged defendants terminated Carano's employment and took other retaliatory actions to limit and deny her future employment opportunities, including but not limited to making maliciously false statements about Carano with the intent of damaging her reputation and thus her ability to find and retain work. It also stated defendants treated Carano differently than her similarly situated male coworkers who likewise expressed their personal political views on social media, but upon information and belief were not counseled or disciplined, let alone terminated. The lawsuit specifically accused the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm of wrongful discharge, refusal to hire, and sex discrimination. Carano is asking for preliminary and permanent injunctive relief requiring defendants to reinstate Carano to her prior position with no loss of payment or benefits. A judgment declaration that defendant's termination of Carano's employment was unlawful and in violation of California law. Compensatory damages, including but not limited to loss of pay for the date of termination to the date of reinstatement, is an amount to be determined at trial, but exceeding $75,000. So she has to get at least $75,000 and 1 cent, right?
Yep.
Let me see. Walt Disney Company filed a motion in April arguing that Disney makes this motion on the grounds that Disney has constitutional rights not to associate its artistic expression with Carano's speech, such as First Amendment provides a complete defense of Carano's claims. Later in their motion, the company lawyers argued Carano's claims are barred by the First Amendment. As the Supreme Court held in Hurley versus Irish American Gay Lesbian Bisexual Group Boston. There's a number, I'm not going to read that. The First Amendment embodies a core principle of speaker's autonomy that bars the state from dictating to expressive enterprise what to say, how to say it, and who to say it through. Disney continued, as court further held in Boy Scouts America versus Dale, that principle means that the state cannot force an employer to engage in speech to speak through an employee whose views or public profile could compromise the employer's own message, even if the employee does not express her views on the job. Disney's motion added the coup de grace came in February 2021 when Carano admitted reposted on Instagram a post comparing criticism politically conservative viewpoints to the Holocaust and Nazis of Germany. This is Disney's motion.
Right.
I don't know if that's exactly what she said, but Carano's decision to publicly trivialize the Holocaust by comparing criticism of political conservatives to the annihilation of millions of Jewish people, notably not thousands, was the final straw for Disney. As Carano legends, Lucasfilm the same day denounced her statements and observed that it had no plans to employ her in the future. I think this is all a bunch of nonsense. It's going to come out in the trial. This is what I think happened. I do think that they weren't planning to renew her contract and they weren't going to have her on The Mandalorian anymore.
Yep.
But I think that what happened was Pablo Hidalgo leaked all this crap to the press.
Yep.
To destroy her career. But more importantly, I think all of this was to derail The Mandalorian and whatever future plans Jon Favreau had over at Star Wars. That's my theory. I don't have proof of this, but it's a theory. It's based on some rumors I've heard. So it will come out in the trial.
I did drop a link to the case filing. It's obviously very legal heavy, so unless you're like real into legal briefs and motions and stuff like I am, it may be a bit thick for you. But what's important is the last page that gives you the schedule of what's going to be coming up. So so for example, last date to hear motion to amend pleadings is 12/20 of 24, and it starts getting into when discovery cutoff is in 2025. It goes April, June, July. So it has the trial filings second round in August of next year. So you might find that a little bit interesting to see what's coming up. But it's going to be a bad year for Disney in this regard.
Okay.
The other thing to keep in mind is that they have a list of who the witnesses are, including Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau and Pedro Pascal. These people are scheduled right now to appear in court for cross-examination. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Well, they're going to say, Kathleen Kennedy, were you behind, this.
I want to know who fired her.
Yeah, exactly.
Who fired her?
And she's going to go, no, it wasn't me, da-da-da-da-da. But remember, a good attorney never asks a question he doesn't already have an answer for. So they're going to pull out emails. And they're going to say, can you please take a look at exhibit blah, 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 such and such. And you will see that it says that, please read that. Who is it from and who's it to? Okay, it's from you. And you said to so-and-so blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you reconcile that with what you just said? That's the kind of thing that I'm kind of looking forward to.
Geek Flag says, no, that's not what she said. Add if you want to know the exactly post. Well, you may post it if you want in the chat if you want. I didn't think that's what she posted. I think this is what Disney is saying she said, which I think they're misconstruing.
Oh, they very much are.
You have proof, Boomer, of the things I was talking about as far as the reason why she was fired. No, I don't. It's this theory I have based on rumors as far as the stuff with Pablo Hidalgo being the one to say this was a theory going around. It makes sense, but do I have proof of that? No. That's what I'm hoping this trial is going to reveal.
That's the other thing. Even if what she said, what Disney said she did and said was true, her whole argument is Yeah, but they're going after me for it, but they're not going after Pablo Hidalgo. They're not going after Mark Hamill, you know,
Okay, so
and for
uh,
saying much, much worse things.
Boomer needs emojis. Okay.
Well, let's get Boomer monetized so he can get emojis.
No, I
Make
think
sure you
I
share
took
out the
off the.
stream. Tell all
Yes.
your friends to
All right. Thank
subscribe.
you. That is what she said. Well, look, I'm hearing two different things. I had someone else in the chat saying that that is not. My idea was I think she was making an allusion to that people are being silenced, and that's the first step on a bad road. When
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I have a
what I think
clip
she's
of
saying.
the actual tweet she sent out.
Yes.
You know, and she was making a historical commentary. What she said is, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me.
Right.
She said that it didn't start with gas chambers. It started with one neighbor, reporting their neighbors, you know, and it escalates from there. And she was basically making the general argument to let's not do that all over again, you know. And she said it at the time in the sense of the lockdowns and the mandates and the masks and all that kind of stuff. People were turning on each other over, you know, this completely ridiculous situation. And she said, you guys are doing it again, you know.
No, I saw saying that is what she said joke. That's why I need emojis. He was not being serious. Okay. He was okay. He was being sly. It's all going to come out at the trial. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
He created the character of Cara Dune for Gina Carano and giving her spin-off Rangers
It'll
of the
be
Republic.
interesting to hear what Jon Favreau says in court.
She was a fan favorite character. She's not doing this to get her job back. Disney, this is for herself, her own dignity. It's for other people too, who get blacklisted like this. Yeah.
She's been very careful not to be too specific, but she's been, in fact, Valiant Renegade directly asked her if, if there's some amount she'd be willing to settle for. And she kind of dodged it a little bit. And he kind of gave her the out, saying, I know if you can't answer, don't answer. But it became pretty clear that she is not looking for a monetary compensation. She'll take it to punish Disney, but she is trying to restore her good name. And she's literally trying to fight the good fight against companies like this and doing this to others.
The quote she posted actually appears on the Holocaust Museum. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
That's absolutely right. And I'm sure all of that kind of stuff is going to come up. Not only is it going to come up in court, but it's going to come up in the most dramatic and impactful way.
Here's what's going
Mark,
on. It's
Mark
to prove
makes
a point.
So I've had this situation too. There's a lot of people, when they have a good job, they're like, well, I don't want to lose that job. I want to sue for my job back. And every attorney will always tell you why. Do you think things are going to be better? Do you think they're going to be nice to you when you come back? They're going to make your life miserable. Now, if it's a wrongful termination suit, you can get financial compensation for it. You can even get punitive damages against them. But you better start looking for another job. But in this particular case, see, this is a little different. When you're a contractor like she is, and they had an agreement, okay, I think what's going to be coming out is she's going to get into the details of her negotiations with Disney. This is one of the things Disney doesn't want to come out in Discovery. And the whole thing about Rangers of the New Republic is going to come up. She's going to say, I was offered this job. We were looking at this much. Bare minimum, I was going to at least get what I was getting here. But since I was going to be headlining it, it'll probably be more like this much. And I had made plans based on that. And when they did this, okay, now, all those plans I made were shot. That is, you say that I want the job they offered me. I want them to be true to their what they agreed. And Disney will, in theory, have two choices. Give her job back and go ahead with Rangers of the New Republic, which honestly, guys, that's why a lot of these projects end up happening. A lot of these things that you're like, they should just cancel that. They should just do that. They're screwing it up. It's just costing them money for nothing. No, they're doing it because they had an agreement with people and they have to make the thing. It's probably how we ended up with the Acolyte, to be honest with you.
Oh, my goodness.
But the other thing is, if they're not doing it, they owe her money. So that's why you have to bring it up as, I want my job back. Well, we can't give you your money back because we're not doing the project. Therefore, we are in breach of contract, and this is what you would have made for doing this series.
What bothered me most about this is, it's one thing if they decided they just don't want to work with her anymore. And of course, as you said, their contractual obligations probably, maybe they would have had to pay her out or whatever. It's the fact that they publicly ruined her career.
But
and that's why I'm angry.
Probably why they did.
She had a career before Star Wars. She was a female fighter. Then she got into acting. She was in Fast and the Furious. She was in one of the Fast and the Furious movies. She was in.
But that's probably
Haywire.
Partly, That's probably partly why they did it so publicly. They needed, if they had an agreement with her behind the scenes for Rangers of the New Republic, and then decided they weren't going to go ahead with it because of whatever political reasons, they had to put it on her. So that in their minds, so we're not in breach of contract. She's in breach of contract because look at this terrible, terrible tweet she put out. And the argument in the case is going to be, no. This was your decision. You're in breach of contract. This does not rise to the level of being in breach of contract.
Well, Elon Musk, I know he's funding this, and he has a beef with Bob Iger.
Oh yeah, he does.
Ever since they did that public, he did the whole. I wonder if I still have that clip anywhere. But anyway,
as a matter of fact, let me see. Since we're on mine, I think we do.
Go ahead. You can show it if you want.
Go yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob. If you're in the audience.
There you go.
Are you sure that's what you meant? Like it got the interviewer's like, I'm gonna get into trouble for this, even though it really was out of his hands. But
no, that's and I think more has come out in the past couple weeks about where and why Elon Musk is where he is with a lot of these things. We know what Disney stands for these days, and it rhymes with another word for sweeping, right?
Yeah.
And that strikes him very, very personally. All of this, what does he call it? The woke mind virus, and what it's doing to our children.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees Disney very, very clearly as being the epicenter for that. He has a very personal bone to pick with Disney about a lot of this stuff.
But I do, yes, well, obviously, because there's something rotten over there at the company. But I did want to make a point. Geek Flag says, the truth of the matter is that Kathleen Kennedy can't handle a real strong woman. Yes, I also think she can't handle the fact that the men in the audience really like Gina Carano, too, even though it goes against all these narratives like saying, oh, men don't like women with muscles and athletic. No, yes, they do. But men like all kinds of different kinds of women. That's this media thing they keep pushing. And they liked her. They liked her character. And she was set to be a headline her own series, which I'm sure would have been a hit. But let's see here, though. I checked earlier today. Disney stock was sitting at $89.95. Speaking of Disney stock, does that lead us into our next article?
It absolutely does. I'm a little behind on dropping.
Defund Disney, fire Iger. Well, I don't know. I don't know who he has to pick a successor. But Ike Perlmutter has sold.
Unless, of course, come next year, there's another coup, and well, we'll get to that. But
so here we go. Let's get into this. So, but good luck to Gina Carano.
We had talked to you a while back, a couple months ago. Nelson Peltz had sold all of his Disney stock, and we talked a little bit about that. Now Ike Perlmutter is doing the same.
So Ike Perlmutter, a major Disney stockholder, lent his shares to support a shakeup on the company's board, has now sold all of them and is moving on, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal. When reached through a spokesperson, Perlmutter, who accumulated the holding when he sold Marvel to Disney in 2009 for more than $4 billion, didn't disavow this. Perlmutter had supported Nelson Peltz in a first run at a Disney board seat in 2022, although the activist investor ultimately backed down as Disney began to restructure.
Yeah.
But saying he was ultimately unsatisfied by the turnaround efforts and worried about succession, Peltz started his campaign again, seeing it through the second time to a bitter proxy fight that he ultimately lost this spring. The former Marvel executive was ultimately fired by Disney after Bob Iger returned as CEO. Ike and Nelson were working together to try to encourage the board to convince the board to put Nelson on the board. Iger said to them, they have a relationship that dates back quite some time. We bought Marvel in 2009. I promised Ike the job that he would continue to run Marvel after that. Not forever, necessarily. Yeah, we know he gave it over to Feige, right? That's what happened. Yep. Okay. In the second round, Perlmutter gave Peltz authorization to vote his shares as the billionaire founder and CEO of Trion Pictures sought 2 board seats, one for himself and another for former Disney executive Jay Rossello, meaning Disney shareholders would have to eject 2 board candidates backed by the company. After a battle, shareholders voted in April to re-elect Disney's board, snubbing the outsider candidates. Perlmutter sold his entire position of 25.6 million shares in the months after the vote, said the Wall Street Journal, citing communications with an investment advisor seen by the publication. Specifically, he sold the stake between early April and mid-July at an average price of just under 115. In a parting dig, he told the publication it's because he doesn't have confidence in management and that he might be a buyer again if it falls to $65 to $75. Disney stock is trading down about 3% today at $91. It has been as high as $124 and as low as $79 over the past year. So it looks like he sold at a profit, not as much as Peltz did, though. But I was watching the Midnight's Edge video on this, actually. So
yeah, and I'm wondering if there is a timing thing here, too, because he sold at a good time. It's hard to separate the market trend from the influence that these big shareholders have when they buy and sell. You know that when and we watched it in real time, when Nelson Peltz sold his stock, the share price dropped. And it happened again when this one, Ike Perlmutter, got rid of all his stocks. The value just drops. That's just how the market works. But he was watching it trend down, and he picked his time to sell. And these guys don't do any of this stuff, to lose money. They know what they're doing. They wouldn't be rich if they didn't know what they were doing. And as we pointed out, when Nelson Peltz sold his, the media tries to spin it as, his second coup attempt to take over Disney failed, so he's selling all his stock, he's getting out, forgetting that he did the exact same thing after the first time. Just because you sell your stock doesn't mean you're out for good. You buy low and sell high. And he is selling while it's as high as it is, and then he gets out, and then the stocks drop, and they're going to drop and drop and drop, and then maybe they go and they buy a whole bunch more. Look, you make yourself $1 billion with a B by selling off your stocks that appreciated in value, right? That the value's going out. The longer you wait, the less money you'll be making. So you make yourself $1 billion. You're $1 billion ahead for having had that Disney stock. The value drops. And then you go and buy another $1 billion worth of stock. Well, guess what? Because the value of that stock dropped so much from what you paid for it, now you own maybe twice as much stock for the same $1 billion. That's how these people make money. That's also how these people take over companies, if they so choose.
All right. So, do you think this is good news in the long run?
It depends on how you define good news when it's applied to Disney. It's good for Ike Perlmutter, obviously.
In 50 years, we might see a sea change over there, and things get back to normal.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Maybe not that long from now.
I don't know.
Here's the thing: we can only speculate whether or not this is Ike and Nelson still planning for another run at taking over Disney. But what we can say for sure is this is bad for Disney. Their stocks are just dropping. Everyone that was a possible hope for them is getting out. So if watching Disney crash and burn, as Mark was saying earlier, defund Disney, this is absolutely defunding Disney. And I don't think it can be built back better. But it might be worth leveling the ground and salting the earth and building a shopping center there.
I forgot all about Build Back Better.
Yeah.
Whatever came of that? Was it Build Back?
Well, look at the past 4 years. That's what's come of Build Back Better.
Oh no! And then there were green shoots. I remember that was a thing too. And the Green New Deal. Let's not talk politics, right? Let's talk entertainment.
We'll talk politics.
All right, you gonna post the next one? Let's just move on.
I didn't realize we were done here. Okay, yeah.
Is there anything left to say?
No.
He's out. He knows the ship is sinking. Let's get out while I still can make a profit. That's what investors do.
Exactly right.
But what do I know? Maybe they're going to bounce back because they have this new streaming bundle to announce.
Oh, for crying out loud, yeah.
So I've noticed too.
Disney, Hulu, and Max are completely worthless on their own. Let's throw them together and see if we can make something out of it.
Well, in defense of Max,
there is no defense for Max.
I'm not. No, this is my defense of Max.
Okay.
Okay, in the old days, you had this thing called HBO, and that's basically what I see Max as. This is just your streaming version of HBO. It was trying to be
something. HBO Max.
They did in the beginning. They called it HBO Go and other things, and sometimes they had multiple tiers going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Like there was HBO Go, HBO Max. There was another one too. I forgot what it was called. They were all different ways you get your. I didn't make sense of it at the time. I don't know why they switched from HBO Max to Max because I would figure HBO has more cachet than Cinemax, right?
We've been saying for the longest time that these streaming services have a lot of problems that make absolutely no sense, and competing against yourself is one of them.
Max was the channel you turned on late at night to watch videos you weren't supposed to be watching.
Right, exactly. Cinemax is what we
Yes. There's a wonderful line in the first Austin Powers movie when Scott Evil is saying, well, what do you plan to do with your life or something? He says, tonight I'm going to watch some a titty picture on Skinemax. And then he said, and he's like this, and he was like the disappointed father. This is what he plans to do. This is, this is. That was a brilliant movie. Yeah. I'm sorry. Anyway, dragons, Jedis, Marvel, and DC superheroes, Harry Potter, Disney princesses, and more from Disney and Warner Brothers Discovery are now available to stream for a reduced monthly price. Get out of town.
Yeah.
On the ad-supported side, that's a savings of up to $38.8% compared with the price of the services purchased separately. Disney Plus Basic at $7.99, Hulu with ads at $7.99, and Max with ads at $9.99. That actually is better than what they're charging. I'll say this. You can save nearly 35% of the no ads bundle compared with the regularly monthly standalone prices. Disney Plus Premium at $13.99, Hulu no ads at $17.99, and Max ad free at $16.99. This is where, in my opinion, this is where streaming started getting expensive when they started doing the ad tiers. This is ridiculous. This is now getting at what, $18 a month?
Yeah.
Is that more than cable
what
was?
This is starting to look a lot more like? You kind of alluded to it before. It's starting to look like cable. These are like cable bundles. And in fairness to them, this is what we've been saying all along, that individually these companies are dying. They don't have enough content for what they're charging people. So what they need to start doing is bundling together for one price.
Well, here's the funny thing about Max, right? When you get the Max app, you also get like Discovery Channel, right? And I kept thinking, this is like you don't have to have Discovery Plus anymore. You can just have the Max app. but not everything on Discovery Plus is on the Max app. It's like selected shows.
Yeah.
So you don't get everything that's on Discovery.
They're competing against themselves again.
Anyway, Disney and Warner Brothers Discovery, who are otherwise fierce competitors, announced plans for the bundle in early May. This means they're trying to go after Netflix. They still can't beat Netflix.
Yeah.
Available only in the United States, the bundle provides content from across each media company's portfolio brands, including Disney, HBO, Hulu, Warner Brothers Pictures, FX, ABC, Marvel, Pixar, Searchlight, Star Wars. What do you mean Star Wars? Sorry.
Well, it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, but that's not a. They're doing all these studios. Star Wars is not a studio. It's Lucasfilm, maybe.
David Pensek brings up an excellent point that I've been making about the content. You could say the same thing about Disney. There's a whole backlog of stuff that Disney should have on their streaming service and don't. They've been shooting themselves in the foot all along. So they've made this more and more inevitable.
Chris P. Jedi, Marvel, DC, and Harry Potter. I already have enough of these titles on physical media. Enough said. Well, they're talking about all the new stuff, like these, like the Acolytes. Stuff, yeah. There's your Jedi. Dude, don't come off looking so good on that show. All the
Marvel streaming shows that
like Loki.
Are the homework in order to understand the movies they're putting out. All that kind of crap.
What the heck do they have with DC? I guess they have that. What was the one? That show with John Cena. That was their DC.
Well, that, and now we're going to be talking a little bit later about another
Creature Commandos.
Yeah, Creature Commandos that's coming.
Harry Potter, which is that'll probably be a big boon for HBO. I'll admit that if they really are going back and adapting the books in a series form, that might be something that becomes like must-see television. Please make it family friendly,
right?
Wholesome entertainment. Can you do that? Don't add. Never mind. Let's not get into this. Anyway, let's popular on Variety. Oh, sorry, I skipped that. The strategy for the media companies is to boost engagement and reduce churn. Yeah, because I'm not going to have to churn and get off of Hulu onto Max if I have both in the bundle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hulu had Shogun. That was a big hit.
Yeah.
In a way, Disney Plus Hulu Max bundle represents a move to reconstitute the consolidated packaging of pay TV, which has been steadily eroding for the past several years amid the surge of low-cost streaming options. That sounds like what you were saying earlier about us becoming cable.
Yeah, exactly.
So in industry lingo, the Disney Plus Hulu Max combo is a synthetic bundle, meaning the services remain operationally separate. Well, okay. And that's in contrast to a hard bundle that fully integrates separate streaming packages into one user experience, meaning it would all be on one app.
Right.
You just get the app separately. Yeah, so the new bundle restructuring of how people view content, WBDO CEO David Zaslav said in May. I went through a generation of disruption, not quite as big as this, but when my career started, when the cable business was a real disruption, he said, and as we look at what happens ahead, there likely will be a restructuring of how people view content. Okay. So Disney and WBD touted a broad swath of content available from the trio services in the new lineup. The lineup includes Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, and The Simpsons. Movie franchise like Disney's Frozen, Marvel. I stand corrected. They're touting the old crap again. Marvel's Avengers, Star Wars, and Pixar's Toy Story. And TV franchises like Batman, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, House of the... What do you mean TV franchises like Batman? Is that maybe they're talking about that Penguin series they're working on?
I don't know.
Okay. And Agatha All Along is coming to Disney Plus, and the Penguin on Max.
Looking forward to that because that song was so catchy.
All right. So, do you think this is going to be a win for them? I'm just curious. $29.99 for the non-ad bundle. $29.99 a month.
That there can be any kind of a win for streaming. Streaming is a loser as far as revenue goes, but it's better than it's better than a sharp stick in the eye.
Here's the problem. I've never had Disney Plus. I can't speak to what's on there, but I've not been impressed with what I've heard. Hulu is different. You get a lot of the ABC stuff, some of the Fox stuff on there, but I don't watch it that often. I was trying to start with Shogun, but I didn't get back into it. I think that show The Bear is on Hulu. That might be what that picture is from. It's about a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be very good, actually, like the restaurant business.
Yeah.
And I guess that's who's the green girl? Is that
She-Hulk.
Gamora?
Oh, Gamora, yeah.
Okay. Oh, they did the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special on Disney Plus. So I guess that's the exclusive Guardians of the Galaxy content on there. And I think the one left is that from Game of Thrones, I think, or the House of the Dragon show, which I have yet to watch. Because I'm not doing this again. Maybe I'll watch it all when it's all said and done. Maybe I'll just binge the whole thing. But I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this from the start because Game of Thrones maybe wait too long between seasons. I'm not doing this again. And let's not talk about Game of Thrones because that had its own issues. But let's move on to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, let's talk about Deadpool. It's been a great weekend for the if you can give any credit to Disney for this, which I'm going to argue you can't. This is going to be a good one for them.
Yes. Deadpool and Wolverine heads for a record-smashing $195 million opening after a massive $96 million Friday. I figured...
That is domestic. They're looking at a $200 million, over $200 million worldwide.
Yeah. I think, okay, the Merc with the Mouth is back in a big way. Director Sean Levy's threequel to Deadpool and Wolverine delivered a massive $96 million opening on Friday. Domestic box office, sixth biggest opening day of all time after edging out the final Harry Potter pick, not adjusted for inflation. The Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman superhero pick is assured of scoring the biggest R-rated opening of all time. First, Deadpool is the current crown holder at $133.7 million. The only question now is just how high will it climb? Disney and Marvel are predicting $195 million to $205 million, something no one thought possible for an R-rated pick. I heard Kevin Feige was against this project.
Very much so, yeah. He was fighting against it, and this was greenlit under CAPCOM. So,
yeah,
you know,
made them a lot of money, made Disney a lot of money, so they're going to take this. But we'll see. Deadpool and Wolverine is the first R-rated movie to be released by Disney and puts Kevin. It's released by Fox.
Yes.
20th Century Fox. What do you mean the first R-rated movie released by Disney? But I'm sure they've had R-rated Fox pictures since then.
Technically, well, but they were inherited
by Disney Marvel. Maybe that should say. Maybe that's what it counts as.
I think this is the first one that was actually made under Disney. Is what they're saying.
Okay. The high-profile Deadpool threequel, which Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson Deadpool and brings Jackman into the franchise as Logan Wolverine, is also doing big business overseas, where its total through Friday was $115.1 million for a very early global climb of $211.1 million. I knew this movie was going to do well. Ryan Reynolds is a talent, so is Hugh Jackman. People are going to go see this. In fact, frankly, I'll eventually watch this movie. I don't know if I'm going to go to the theaters or not, but I know that this was I figured this was going to be a huge deal when it came out. I was a huge fan of the last Deadpool movie that came out. I was gut busting in the theater at the jokes because it was completely. It completely. I don't want to say it lampooned the X-Men franchise because it is in the X-Men universe. It is a Marvel movie, but it points out some of the ridiculousness.
Yes, it does.
And maybe not in the same way, but Batman the Brave and the Bold did that for the DC universe when it was on TV. So it's sort of the same thing. But good on Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. But Deadpool and Wolverine will be a success despite Disney because Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy had to fight with Kevin through the whole project. I don't know if this will be the last one they do, or they'll probably have to do another one when Marvel is in the crapper again. Wasn't Ruthless People the first R-rated movie Disney released? Yeah, they ignore this. I don't know what they're talking about when they say these things because yes, you're right. That was under Touchstone Pictures, I believe, but that was still put out by the Walt Disney Company. I remember Down and Out in Beverly Hills. That was another one. Yeah,
but then again, I think they have this way of equivocating and finding ways to make things mean what they think it means.
My parents have Disney Plus. I still use it while I live with them for the movies. I don't have physical media yet, but I'm slowly building the collection. My mention to you, if you're trying to build like a collection, look at some of those boutique labels like Arrow Video. They release really good product. I think they even have sales every so often too, I got their edition of Pitch Black with Vin Diesel, the original one. It's a very nice edition of that movie. Deadpool and Wolverine will give Disney a hit, but don't be fooled; it will not save the MCU. Well, that's the thing. Is this an MCU movie, or is this moving Deadpool into the MCU? Because this is technically in the Fox X-Men universe, right?
It's technically they're going to want to lay claim to it as part of the MCU because it's now a Marvel film under Disney's banner. However, it is still set in that universe that was created by 20th Century Fox. All of it homages the 20th Century Fox stuff. And my understanding is it's self-contained. I don't think this actually does bring Deadpool into the mainline Marvel universe. I think this just kind of allows them to mothball the character.
I love the film myself. Yeah, I mean, there are finally some decent movies in the theater. Twister's got a good write-up, so is this. I'm curious about the Alien Romulus. I can't imagine it's going to be worse than some of the Ridley Scott ones that came out more recently, but we'll see.
Exactly.
I was upset we didn't get the Blomkamp sequel to Aliens that he had wanted to do, and then Ridley Scott interfered, and that didn't end up happening.
Exactly.
Did you know that it was going to be a full sequel? They were going to pretend like Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection never happened, and it was going to have Hicks, and
I read that
Newt was going to be an adult, and it was going to be, and no. Age, if you have a list of companies that you buy physical media, I wouldn't mind having a copy of that. Maybe I'll do that for next week. If you want to stick around, I'll come up with a list of what I think. And actually, you know what channel you should check out too? Fanzine. Fanzine Vids.
Yeah,
he's very good at doing reviews of these boutique labels. But I'll also try to get a list for next week.
Greg
all
is
right,
really good with all of that. Yeah. In
and
fact, he's got that weekly physical media show you should really be watching.
Decent movie, a love letter, 2000 early 2000s Fox movies. Here's the thing about those X-Men movies. They were hit and miss. Sometimes you were like, oh, really good. And then other times you were very frustrated by what was on the screen. And they always got things wrong, but I keep forgetting that modern Marvel keeps getting things wrong too over at Disney when they should know better. They don't get me started what they did to Taskmaster. Mm-hmm. Did they not realize that Taskmaster is a favorite villain by Marvel fans, and they kind of just, here, we'll just slap it on anybody and make him a her and she doesn't speak or had some memory thing. So it's not Taskmaster, it's just wearing the costume. It's okay.
Yeah, and look, it's, you know what, I'm not going to get too far into it. WDW Pro does a great talk about this, and so does Midnight's Edge. Midnight's Edge talks about this being a bait and switch, and it's like Disney can't get out of its own way. It's just ridiculous.
The only difference is something my brother.
Although speaking of Lady Deadpool, I guess she has a brief appearance in the film, and there was speculation as to who plays that briefly appearing female Deadpool.
Interesting.
If you think about it, though, you probably know exactly who.
I think I know who's playing her.
Oh yeah.
It had to be like Lively, right?
It was. Yeah, it was. I'd totally be behind them doing a spin-off with
that'd be funny, yeah, because that makes sense. The only difference is something my brother said after he watched it, that this Wolverine is alternative universe Wolverine. Well, part of me wondered if the Logan Wolverine was... See, Logan was... I'll say this for Logan when I saw this. I took Logan as... This may or may not be the Logan from those X-Men movies we've been watching, right?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of treated it as... I don't like to use this word Elseworlds, but I kind of thought of it as that. Like, this is a what if, right?
Yeah.
And I sort of treat them because it is kind of a dark ending for that character too. But I thought it was a great Pacelli spoilers.
Yeah.
Dude, well, you know what? Troy did it, not me. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, I guess the spoiler was that Lady Deadpool was.
Actually, I was oblique about it. You're the one that made the guess.
Anyway, who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, for the love of Mike.
I said I bet you could guess who it is, and you said, yeah, Blake Lively,
okay.
right?
Well, we do
yeah.
apologize. We will stop talking about this movie. I do. Those of you who want to see it, I want to go in.
I don't know. Personally, I think it's better going into it looking forward to that.
Okay.
And knowing it's Blake Lively there.
Okay.
You know.
Anyways, that was a guess anyway. But I get into trouble when I guess things on this channel. Going back to our first stream. Anyway, let's move on.
Right.
Marvel Studio. Oh man, boy, you like Marvel? We're gonna have some more spoilers coming up here because they had some big announcements. We excited. And
There was a lot of them. I don't know how big they are.
We're gonna do all of them since I skipped good old days tonight. Saw the trailer for Alien Romulus before Deadpool. Looked like CW meets Alien franchises. You know what it looked like to me? It looked like I got this impression with that last Apes movie that they were almost gearing for like, can we kind of make it into a YA type of series? And I'm not saying that YA movies are bad. I mean, I watched all the Hunger Games and all that, but I don't know if that's what the latest Planet of the Apes was like. I have access to it. I can watch it. Now this is stupid. What? Okay, listen, we're gonna get there. Personally, I did not like the Logan movie. It was too dark and sad for me. I get you, Leia plus size, and you can choose to ignore it and pretend it's not part of the main canon, because I don't think you would necessarily think, especially with how Professor X. I think it was. I kind of look at it as an experiment. That's how I saw it. Marvel Studios Comic-Con 2024 announcements. Are we excited? Who do we see there? Huh? Big reveal. I'll start reading because I'm gonna get Troy pumped up.
Yeah.
Hall H was buzzing this evening for Marvel Studios Hall H showcase, bringing excited fans to San Diego Comic-Con. A first look at what's next for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including huge news about Marvel Studios' next two adventure films, Deadpool and Wolverine. Well, yes, we know about that.
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to milk it its opening weekend. Look at our big hit.
Right.
Excuse me. Captain America: Brave New World with Sam Wilson about to make his big screen debut as Captain America in Captain America: Brave New World. Delaney welcomed to the stage Cap himself, Anthony Mackie. Joining them were Tim Blake Nelson, Danny Ramirez, and Giancarlo Esposito, who confirmed he is playing Sidewinder. Oh, that's who he's playing. Is Sidewinder a Captain America villain? You might know more about that than me.
Yeah.
Okay. He plays a good villain. Of course, that doesn't mean he'll play a good villain in this movie, though. Ford makes his Marvel Cinematic Universe debut as President Thaddeus Ross. Story follows Sam Wilson, who, after meeting the newly elected President Thaddeus Ross, finds himself in the middle of an international incident. Sam must discover the reason behind a nefarious global plot before the true mastermind has the entire world seeing red. Marvel Studios' Captain America: Brave New World opens in U.S. theaters on February 14th, 2025. I was getting kind of a Winter Soldier, Captain America: Winter Soldier vibe from the trailer. Weren't you? Or something?
Yeah.
Not excited, are you?
Not at all.
Okay. Well, it's going to have a Red Hulk in it.
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, and I saw where Harrison Ford comes out on stage and he's doing the and it's like, he looks so foolish. I'm like, I hope they're giving him a boatload of money.
They probably
to make
are.
himself look so stupid, you know?
Is he still married with Callista Flockhart?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Do they even make YA adaptations anymore? They did those Maze Runner movies. I don't know what's been done since then. Moving on. Actually, they were supposed to do the Blood and Bone novel for Lucasfilm, but that didn't end up happening. I think that's a YA series.
Gee, maybe they realize there's no money in it.
Well, I think it went over to another studio, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe there's no money in giving it to Lucasfilm, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Highlighting Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts, Delaney welcomed director Jack Schreier to the stage alongside Geraldine Viswanathan, Louis Pullman, Hannah John Kamen, Wyatt Russell, Julia Louise Dreyfus, Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, and David Harbour. The latter showed up in full Red Guardian garb, earning laughs and applause from the crowd, which was treated to a scene from the movie. Marvel Studios and a crew of indie veterans who definitely sold out present Thunderbolts, an irreverent team-up featuring depressed assassin Yelena Belova alongside the MCU's least anticipated band of misfits. This sounds like Marvel Suicide Squad. Marvel Studios Thunderbolts also stars Olga Kurilenko and opens in theaters on May 2nd, 2025. So Marvel's finally releasing their movies. Look at this. Fantastic Four, First Steps. Fantastic Four, First Steps. Feige returns to the stage to share details of the upcoming The Fantastic Four, which kicks off production Tuesday. Joining Feige on stage was director Matt Shakman and Marvel's first family together on stage for the first time, Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, and Ebon Moss Backrack, Ben Grimm / the Thing. They all shared some cosmic details for the upcoming feature film that sees Galactus and Silver Surfer target Earth for destruction, and revealed the movie's title, The Fantastic Four: First Steps. But then Hall H was overtaken by none other than the Fantasticar soaring over the crowd, drawing massive cheers as a retro-futurist vision of New York City took over the screens, featuring music by Oscar winner composer Michael Giacchino, and Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four: First Steps hits theaters on July 25th, 2025. What's with the retro future vision of New York City? Is this like an alternative universe Fantastic Four?
Okay, that they don't give you enough details, but the one thing it seems to imply is that they are keeping it possibly within its own historical context. So like I don't know, like the 40s and 50s. Well, it'd have to be the 50s, right? When was the original moon shot? So remember, the original Fantastic Four was all about.
They premiered in comics in the 60s.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it was based on the premise that during the space race, Reed Richards and his corporation were basically the NASA of the United States, and he was under a great deal of pressure to get to the moon before the Russians. And he didn't think of having some big Hollywood mogul make a fake movie about it. So instead, he went ahead and built a rocket ship a la Elon Musk. And they had a deadline. So he and his fiance and would-be brother-in-law and best friend, who's a pilot, jump in the thing and to test it without... taking into account the cosmic rays when they go through the Van Allen belt, and they all got mutated and received superpowers in a very tragic way for Ben Grimm.
Yes,
because he's permanently disfigured.
They did that in the movie. Remember, his fiance left him in the first one. Remember that one years back.
Right.
Speaking of Hulk, I just saw Incredible Hulk for the first time a few weeks ago. It's a pretty good movie. I don't know what the fuss was about. I enjoyed the original Incredible Hulk, the one with Edward Norton. I thought that was a really good Hulk movie. It was
honestly the cornerstone that they built the MCU on, and people tend to forget that.
I also liked a lot of the nods to the Bill Bixby series. There were little nods there.
I was amazed because there literally were, for the longest time, two different Hulks. There was the Hulk from the TV series, and there was the Hulk in the comics, cartoons, and everything else. And they did a great job of integrating the two.
Kind of blending it a bit. They even played that music in one scene when he's fleeing, I guess, from what was it? Was he in Brazil and he has to get out of there?
Yeah, exactly.
And he was trying to set up a new life for himself. He was trying to stay away from it all, and he's trying to find a cure, but he's helping run a factory down there, and it was just But let's move on though. We are going to cover.
Real quick, I wanted to touch on this whole Robert Downey Jr.
Well, might as well bring up Leia plus size comments. Bring in an RDJ as Doom, and the Russo Bro is more of a sign of desperation, and that Feige has no idea
that really
the devil
is how
he's
it
doing.
Plays here. So I would encourage everyone to go check out. I can't remember. I think it's WDW Pro did a video about this, implying that there's more going on behind the scenes than we're aware, without being too on the nose about it. But despite them saying he's coming back as Doctor Doom, this might be a little bit of smoke and mirrors they're doing.
Well,
bigger reveal later on. I think this works to their detriment. because they're doing this for the hype. Hey, look, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, and Doom is coming to the MCU, and blah, 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 and this and that. And immediately the implication is Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom, right? So, screw this Dr. Von Doom stuff that's all tied to Reed Richards. This is an alternate universe version of Iron Man, and instead of becoming Iron Man, he becomes Doctor Doom. And everyone's going, that is not the origin for Doctor Doom.
Well, the origin they gave for Taskmaster wasn't the origin for Taskmaster. The origin they gave for the Mandarin wasn't the origin for the Mandarin. Now, to be fair, I did find that kind of funny how they did that in Iron Man 3, but I get how maybe Iron Man fans were annoyed by that now that I think about it.
What it is at best, it is bad marketing, ill-advised marketing, doing something different than it appears that they are doing, a bait and switch kind of thing. At worst, it's just more of them destroying their own canon, pissing off more fans for hype.
Well, let me read a bit from this. All right, yeah. Avengers. So it's been a while since we've had an Avengers movie. 2019. Was it 2019? And I feel like they've been treading water ever since. Anyway, just when the audience thought the show was over, Feige told them that he had an Avengers update to share. Anthony and Joe Russo, renowned directors of 4 of the most successful Marvel movies and the studio's highest grossing directors with over 6. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Avengers. Okay, so the Russo brothers are going back to do Avengers Secret Wars in May 2027 and Avengers Doomsday in May 2026. The reveal of Avengers Doomsday left one major question: who would play Doctor Doom? Now, some other streamer I was watching, I think Jester Bell is her name, she was bringing up a point that I almost forgot about this. This was supposed to be the Kang dynasty, remember?
Yeah.
I think that's been completely scrapped because of Jonathan Majors, because of the whole Jonathan Majors situation.
Did a crap job of rolling all that out.
Okay, well, the Ant-Man movie and all that, but I think that's what that was supposed to be. So now they've gotten rid of Kang, and I guess now we're having Avengers Doomsday. The directors pointed out that Doctor Doom is one of the most complex characters in the Marvel Universe and needed a truly great actor to bring him to life. As Feige and the Russos prepared to close out the presentation, robe figures dressed as Doctor Doom masks took the stage and then parted to reveal Robert Downey Jr. is set to return to the MCU. Hall erupted chanting RDJ. I have a question. Could theoretically, since Doctor Doom was always in the mask, because his face got all messed up because of when him and Reed Richards were in college, I think, or something, or there was a chemistry experiment that went wrong. Anyway, could Robert Downey Jr. technically just be playing another character because he could do a different style voice for it, and he's just in the mask all the time? And if they did a flashback, they could just have a different actor playing him in the flashback. Could they do it that way?
I guess they could. I don't know.
Okay. Another theory was, of course, that this is an evil Tony Stark from another universe. Perhaps this other universe that this Fantastic Four comes from, with the retro-futuristic New York City, right?
Yeah.
And that maybe it's an evil Tony Stark that, for whatever reason, became this Doctor Doom character that is not the comics Doctor Doom character. That it's all going to be about them having to fight evil Tony Stark, a.k.a. Doctor Doom.
Yeah, multiverse
stuff.
Crap. Do whatever we want.
Okay,
so well, nothing matters. Exactly.
Okay, in a theory that maybe it all come to a big head, and maybe they get Tony Stark's soul and put it into this other Tony Stark's body, and everything's okay. I don't know what they're gonna do, like Doctor Strange. I don't know what they're gonna do, and then this ends the Marvel run, and they're just gonna reboot the whole thing. Of course. This is all conjecture on my part, since these things never go how I think they're going to go.
Yeah.
Which may be a good thing or maybe a bad thing. Anyway, but there's going to be Avengers Secret Wars. Wasn't that a big thing in Marvel Comics, the Secret Wars?
Yes. They're going to screw that up too.
Okay, well, Okay, so I don't know.
Secret Wars is kind of dead on arrival to begin with, because it's another one of those ones where you'll have to have watched every single friggin' streaming show from D Plus, and no one will have done so. And so it'll be like, well, what the heck is all this? I don't understand any of this.
I doubt they're going to keep doing mask on. This is Hollywood super movie. They haven't been able to get. Yeah, but that's what depresses me, because Darth Vader always had his mask on, and he was an imposing villain. That there's no reason you can't have a masked villain, right?
Exactly.
But he's probably right, though.
Although that does give some credibility to that theory you just had about. I mean, imagine if they were to treat Doctor Doom with the voice of Robert Downey Jr. like Darth Vader with the voice of James Earl Jones.
Yeah,
You know?
so that might be what they're planning to do. Maybe he truly is just playing Victor Von Doom. I'm really
Whatever
tired.
is happening, you know that they backed up a truck of money to Robert Downey Jr.'s house. So I don't know.
I think everyone's been tired of it. Leia
Yeah,
plus size.
exactly.
We've been tired of it for years. They brought it up on the South Park episode with the Cartman Kathleen Kennedy variant, and they were saying, hasn't the multiverse multiverse thing been done to death? The kids were saying this was a year ago.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Least I was told they did. I don't know. Let me see. But are we hyped at all for any of these Marvel projects? It's cool to see Robert Downey Jr. again. Like to see him as Sherlock Holmes again. Maybe you not so much, but that Sherlock Holmes 3 is never happening at this point, because they should have done it by now.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Sebastian Stan, as good as he is, Bucky cannot save Thunderbolts, and film no plans to see the cheap knockoff of the Suicide Squad. Yeah, well, I'm not hyped.
I'm fired up about the Suicide Squad.
I'm not hyped for any. No, here's the thing. In the DC animated universe, I at least liked how they did the Suicide Squad, because you already had a built-up universe. And to be fair, I think Marvel laid the groundwork more for the Thunderbolts than the Snyderverse did for the Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad just rolls out before you even know any of these characters. At least these are established characters in the MCU already before they go into this version, So I will give Marvel credit for that these characters at least been introduced in other movies.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm really worried about the Superman project. Has anyone in the chat watched that Superman and Lois show on the CW? I kind of dismissed it after I watched the pilot, but maybe it's better than I gave it credit for.
I mean, I've heard some people saying good things about it, but I didn't like what they were doing with the kids, so I checked.
That's what kind of bugged me, but I was hoping maybe they fixed that as the show went on. That's what threw me off about the kids. I did like the actor they had playing Lex Luthor on it. They didn't go with John Cryer. They went with a different actor. I think he was the one who played Abraham on Walking Dead, actually.
Okay.
And he was an interesting, because he was like a prison tough Lex Luthor, like who'd been stuck in prison for like 20 years. So he really had a vendetta, and apparently he was stuck in there on a false charge, even though he'd probably done a lot of other awful things. So he was wanting revenge. So I was watching some clips, so I don't know.
Oh! So it played by Michael Cudlitz. Oh, he looks like he would make a good
tough Lex Luthor, actually. Yeah.
People don't realize this. People don't remember this. Although Lex Luthor is always bald, the underlying hair color before he goes bald is ginger.
Yeah, and you see him shaving his head in prison. I think that's what he's doing.
Interesting.
Yeah. So this is not the Superman Lois from the Supergirl universe. They said this is a different universe, even though it's the same actors playing them, because they decided not to tie it to the Arrowverse,
which is very wise on their part.
So I don't know if the show was any good. It couldn't get past the first 2 episodes of that CW. The pilot bugged me too. I liked the actors they had playing Superman and Lois. I thought they fit the parts.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was kind of just, I didn't know. But
kind of didn't really like the costume at all.
Yeah, so I don't know if maybe it improved. Keep in mind, I gave Discovery chances. People think that, you're just ragging on the what was it, whatever that, not Bad Robot, the other studio for Star Trek. Bad Treehouse or whatever it's called. The Kurtzman Trek. Yeah, but I did give it an honest chance.
Secret Hideout.
Yes, Secret Hideout. I thought if they had done some tweaking, it would have been better, and I thought they were going to fix it in season 2. And then they
kind of did, but in such a ham-fisted way that it was like.
And then they got rid of Mosley.
No talent.
They got rid of Mosley, a TV veteran. They got him fired.
Yeah.
Who, if anyone had a right to use that word, it was him describing a situation he'd been in, because he was a black screenwriter who'd worked in the industry for years, a great writer, and they got rid of him. So he was probably responsible for the better stuff in the first season. Anyway, that's it. Are we excited for Marvel announcements going forward?
I couldn't be less excited. I'd rather talk sports ball at this point.
Okay, well, speaking of sports ball, let's talk about the NBA rights. Now, you're probably wondering, really? This turning into a sports channel?
No, this is absolutely
it's a geek channel.
Yeah.
It's relevant because Warner Brothers is going to be in the shitter if this doesn't, pardon my French, which we'll talk about that later, French. But anyway, Warner Brothers Discovery drops.
I hadn't heard about this till you shared it with me, and I was, I was like, really?
They're in trouble. They're in trouble. July 25th, Reuters, Warner Brothers Discovery shares for more than 4% in U.S. pre-market trading on Thursday after the media giant failed to renew broadcasting rights for the NBA games, fueling investor concerns over the future of its TNT and Max streaming service. The National Basketball Association rejected an offer from Warner, ending their 4-decade-long partnership, and announced new rights agreements with Walt Disney's ESPN, Comcast-owned NBC Universal, and Amazon, an 11-year deal valued at $77 million. This is what I find kind of funny about this. We thought that the whole Warner Brothers thing, that this whole ESPN network, that streaming thing that Disney is trying to put together, if Warner Brothers lost the NBA, that this network would also be screwed. But apparently, no, they'll just bring Amazon into the fray and kick Warner Media out. Right?
Yeah.
So Disney can still go forward with their ESPN thing. NBA rights were important in our view to the future success of the Max streaming service, said analysts at Macquarie Equity Research, adding that the loss may hasten the downturn in linear networks too. As we said last week, I've been picking on Paramount for a while for all their debt, and Warner Brothers has like more than twice as much debt as they have, like $4 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Warner TNT Sports Division, a current rights holder, said it would take appropriate action and could exercise its matching rights and sue NBA. But according to some analysts, if Warner sues NBA, it could hurt the company's competitiveness in the long run, as other leagues could become hesitant to strike deal with them. So this is a lose-lose.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, well, look at them. They're now taking people to court. Warner's stock has fallen more than 65% since it was forged by the Union of Warner Media and Discovery in 2022. The company is set to lose more than $900 million in market value if losses hold. CEO David Zaslav said in May he was hopeful Warner would reach an agreement with the NBA to keep the league on TNT and Max. That, however, was in contrast to his view in 2022 that he said, we don't have to have the NBA. While Turner could have saved $1.2 billion in rights fees, it will lose ad revenue and may face pressure to reduce affiliate fees, Rosenblatt analyst Barton Crockett said, which means, I guess, with the cable deals, they can't be charging as much for TNT because they don't have the NBA anymore, right?
Right.
The silver lining is that these pressures might make Warner Brothers more open to a breakup, which, in our view, could boost value. I'm going to get to the other article, too. I think I'm just going to do an addendum with this one, all right? It's not long. For the second thought, we're talk about Olympic debauchery. It's coming. Well, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers is already... I'm sorry. People thought they have a lot riding on the Superman movie, but they had a lot riding on this NBA deal. So I don't know if you want to post a link to the other one, but the NBA has rebuffed longtime media partner Warner Brothers Discovery bids to keep airing games after next season. I didn't bother doing a picture for this one. The league told the media company it doesn't believe in its legal matching rights for the new media deal. It instead plans to move ahead with Amazon as its third partner, allowing with ESPN, NBC Universal in its 11-year deal worth about $77 billion. Warner Brothers Discovery most recent proposal did not match the terms of Amazon Prime's Video's offer, and therefore we've entered a long-term arrangement with Amazon. I hate to break this. This is like a breakup. That's what this is sounding like. We like Amazon better. Leave us alone.
Right.
And the NBA doesn't believe Warner Brothers Discovery's right to extend to an all streaming package. So basically, Warner Brothers is saying we had a right to match. We had a right to match Amazon's offer, and then you have to go with us. But the NBA saying that this rights to match did not include was before this all streaming stuff happened. The all streaming package happened, which was carved out for Amazon. Warner Brothers Discovery also owns a streaming service, Max, which it could use to air games, but the company has told NBA plans to simulcast TNT games on Max rather than only putting them on Max. They'd want nothing to do with Warner Brothers. Do you think Warner Brothers is going to lose the NBA, Warner Media?
It shows every indication that it will.
And apparently this is not going to hurt Disney's plan for that ESPN streaming bundle thing they were doing, right? Because it looks like they're still going to work with... And this probably had a lot to do with the fact they were doing this bundle with Hulu, Disney, and Max, right?
Yeah. I mean,
they were
especially when you look at the next one, this is what the NBA is saying. You know?
Yeah, that's what I was reading from.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you'd gotten there.
It's okay. There's more to read.
I thought there was overlap there.
No, I'm sorry. I made it confusing because I didn't post a picture of the next article because there was no picture with the next article, and I'm
true.
I guess I could have posted some basketball players, but
whatever.
The league told the media company it doesn't believe it holds. Okay, and the NBA cited a provision that said the existing media partner can exercise the matching rights only via specific form of combined audio and video distribution, e.g. if the specific form of combined audio and video distribution is internet distribution, matching incumbent may not exercise such games rights via television distribution. In its statement, the NBA said that throughout our negotiation, our primary objective was then to maximize the reach and accessibility of our games for our fans. Our new arrangement with Amazon supports this goal by complementing the broadcast, cable, and streaming packages that are already part of our new Disney and NBC Universal arrangements. Wait a minute. Didn't Warner Media have a deal going with Disney and Universal already? Did Disney sideline Warner Media?
Apparently.
Did Amazon go behind Warner's backs, or Disney went behind Warner's backs and made this deal with the NBA?
Yeah, could be.
I mean, I don't know, but this is I don't know if anyone else in the sphere is talking about this right now. But I think if they lose this, they're in deep trouble.
Agreed.
Okay. They still got Superman though to bring in the box office, right?
Oh yeah, we'll be talking about that.
We got Joker 2 new trailer.
Oh,
did you watch the trailer?
I did.
Lady Gaga.
I still haven't seen the first movie, so I'm not going to really be bothering with this one.
Okay, well, anyone in the chat hyped for this? Should this have been one I left on the cutting room floor?
Honestly... So
this is a bizarre movie that, in my opinion, I never could judge accurately.
Yeah.
Because there was so much decrying when it came out. It's the incel movie, and people are going to start shooting people after they see it, and that didn't happen. I remember that. Go ahead.
So we always talk about these auteurs that make these films.
Yes.
They make a one-off, and then they're so successful, the studios push them to do a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And invariably what they end up doing is just rehashing what they already did.
So this is like French Connection 2.
Yeah.
Except Freakin' refused to direct that one, so they had to get...
Yeah. This one, however, is a rehash, but it does a couple things that do kind of elevate the concept, okay? By making it an, in quotes, musical, which isn't exactly how we imagined they meant musical when they originally announced this. And the whole, unreliable narrator is now two different unreliable narrators.
Because now you have Harley Quinn in this movie, it looks like.
Exactly. And so it's like, I think for all the problems that I think most of the fans have had with this even concept of Joker, you could kind of slough it all off and say, well, you know what? None of this really matters because it's all just crazy fugazi inside a crazy man's head. and they're doubling down on that too. Well, this is just crazy Fugazi in two crazy people's heads. And it doesn't look like this is even has anything to do with any of the mainline other DC stuff they're doing anyway. So, to the extent that this is Joker and Harley Quinn, it kind of just barely, and they're in their own universe, and it has nothing to do with any of the other crap. You know?
Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga are causing chaos as Joker and Harley Quinn in the latest trailer for Warner Brothers and DC's Joker Folie Deux. You like that title?
Yeah, it means a pair of crazy people, basically.
Okay. Sequel to 2019's Joker. The film is set to release in theaters on August.
I guess if I'm more accurate, it's a pair of fools.
5 years for a sequel, but I guess for this type of movie it might make sense because it took them forever to do French Connection 2.
True.
Which the director
Another
didn't want to direct.
Been done.
I'm going to watch it. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Anyway, because it came with my set. Remember, I had to buy the French Connection because my digital copy was a whole other thing. So I bought a double pack.
At the Frozen screenings. Yeah, exactly.
All the violence at the Frozen screenings. Don't joke. You're probably not that far off.
Yeah.
Okay. Both a critical commercial success. First Joker was nominated for 11 Oscars, which stars Joaquin Phoenix, winning Best Actor for the
Rented lips, huh?
Hilder Tier for original score. I probably butchered that. Okay. It's become the highest grossing R-rated movie in history. I thought that was Deadpool 1.
Well, yeah.
I don't know what everyone's mixing their things now. Okay, the sequel will have Phoenix reprise his role, accompanied by Gaga's Harley Quinn as the two embark on sinister adventures. The film reportedly take place mostly in Arkham Asylum. Brendan Gleeson,
mostly inside their own heads.
Maybe. Jacob Loff, Catherine Keener is going to be in this. Comprise. Zazie Beetz will be returning as Sophie from the original. Sequel said to be a musical expanding Phoenix's manic dancing from the first movie. So I think people will be surprised. I don't think it's going to be what they expect around it being a musical. We all sort of express musically and dancing in our lives day to day. I think it's going to work really well. All right. There was... I forgot. Did you know that on Batman the Brave and the Bold, the Joker does do a musical number? It's when he becomes Emperor Joker for the episode.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
So he basically just does a whole musical number in the episode when he's trying to kill, because they're like, "Aren't you going to take the mask off?" And he says, "What are you talking about? That would spoil it if I." Joker doesn't want to know who Batman is, I think. He just wants to... Exactly. It would spoil it for him. I think people will be surprised. I don't think it's going to be what they expect around it being a musical. We all sort of express musically and dancing in our lives day to day. I think okay, I already did that. Joker Folie Deux will be set... Okay, this is what I want. This is the crux of the article I wanted to share with you. Joker Folie Deux will be separate from the other upcoming films from DC Studios co-CEOs James Gunn and Peter Safran's Say, like Superman, and exists in its own separate world. The same goes for Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2, which tells its standalone story. Gaga's Harley Quinn will exist separately from Margot Robbie's character seen in Birds of Prey and The Suicide Squad, and Kaley Cuoco's animated character from the Max series. Todd Phillips returns as director for... Okay, so this is now... They're saying this is still in its own world. It's another version of the Joker, so I assume if they bring the Joker into the Matt Reeves movie, it will not be Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
I'm pretty sure that's the case, yeah.
And if they are able to bring them into the James Gunn Batman verse version, is it going to be a different Joker in that, or are they even allowed to use the Joker?
Will be, yeah.
Or are they even allowed to use the Joker? Because I heard rumor that it was going to be Deathstroke was going to be the villain in the Matt Reeves, not in the Matt Reeves, in the James Gunn verse.
James Gunn verse, who knows?
By the director of the Flash movie that came out.
Oh, genius. That's just wonderful.
I did not care for the first Joker movie, and I have no plan to see this. Sorry, I'm old-fashioned girl. I like movies about the heroes. Well, I was making a point. I wonder if they're ever going to make a movie where the Batman fights the Joker again, or if it's just going to be all of this stuff. Because I kept thinking this might lead into the Matt Reeves Batman movies with Pattinson, and this would be the Joker he fights, but apparently not. Not that I've watched the Pattinson Batman movie. Let's move on to Creature. Okay.
The other thing is, we're all kind of making assumptions that they have anything resembling a plan, which they've proven time and time again they absolutely don't. You know.
I think they can't get rid of these movies. One, the first one did a lot of money, so they can't get rid of it.
True.
And that was your segue, wasn't it? All right.
And real quick, I'm going to step away while you're reading the article. I'll be right back.
Creature Commandos trailer. James Gunn's DC Universe launches with animated monster team-up show. December release date set. DC Studios co-chief James Gunn pulled back the curtain on his rebooted cinematic universe at San Diego Comic-Con, beginning with the first trailer for the upcoming animated series, Creature Commandos. A December launch was announced at Comic-Con. The series was first announced in January, with the 7-episode pilot ordered for Max being written entirely by Gunn. The Creature Commandos, a team of military superhumans, were first launched on page in 1980. The original premise follows Frankenstein's monster teaming up with a werewolf, vampire, and Gorgon to fight Nazis in World War II. Gunn's TV version adds Weasel, a character from Gunn's The Suicide Squad 2021, and Rick Flag Sr. as part of the Commandos. The voice for the series includes David Harbour, Indira Varma, Alan Tudyk, Maria Bakalova, Zoe Chow, Steve Agee, and more. Varma voices the Bride of Frankenstein. Frank Grillo plays Rick Flag Sr. Harbour voices Eric Frankenstein, a version of the classic monster and love interest for the bride. Chow plays Nina Mazursky, an amphibious scientist. Sean Gunn voices G.I. Robot, a military android. And Tudyk voices Dr. Phosphorus. Sean Gunn also reprises his role as Weasel from the Suicide Squad, and Viola Davis is back as Amanda Waller, who she played in 2016 Suicide Squad. Davis is also set to star in a spin-off of the Max series Peacemaker titled Waller. When Gunn and Safran announced the first 10 titles of the new DCU at a press conference last year, they stressed that almost all the actors who voice the characters in the animated series will also portray them if they appear in a future live-action DC production. Grillo will jump to live action to play Rick Flag in Peacemaker Season 2. Anyone here see the trailer for Creature Commandos? Anybody? Barry Coogan was Joker in the Pattinson Batman. Was that in the actual movie, or was that in a deleted scene, though? I don't know. But did you watch the trailer for Creature Commandos, Troy?
I did not. No.
All right.
I'm not too concerned about it because, again, this is a streaming thing, animated. You know, they're going to claim that it's part of the canon of the Gunverse, but no one's going to take that seriously.
Well, here's part of the problem, though, because you have Peacemakers. Peacemaker's still part of the Gunverse?
I think parts of it are supposed to be, maybe. I don't know.
I'll say this for the trailer. I thought the animation looked decent for one of these modern animated series. And this sort of reminds me of a Monster Mash, because you have the Bride of Frankenstein, the Frankenstein monster, Dr. Phosphorus. I don't know if he's a take on the Invisible Man. I don't know.
And this was, I mean, there's a lot of history with these characters in the comics.
Yeah.
So this isn't, you know...
Look, on the surface, it doesn't look bad quality. That's all I'm saying.
And
it does have that Weasel character.
It's a little bit of a shot across the bow at Universal, too. It's like, guys, get your shit together. You know?
So, I don't know about this show. Granted, I said the same thing about that new Batman show coming out, too. But it's an I don't know. I'll wait till it comes out. Though I don't... Is it connected? What's it connected to, though?
Because
this is what's driving me
crazy. To anything directly.
It would be great if it was just a standalone cartoon that was just its own thing.
This is what I'm getting at. If that's what it is, on the one hand, I don't care because it's not tied to anything. On the other hand, I'm not annoyed because it's not tied to anything.
Well, if they want to do goofy or weird things with these characters and leave Superman and Batman and characters like that alone and don't make them the jive of the comedy like on that Harley Quinn show, and this is just its own thing, that might be the place for something like this.
Yeah.
And I do like the fact you have these like you had the Robot Commando, who's all excited because he gets to go out and shoot Nazis like in World War II, and they're like, and it's modern times, you're not going to be able to do that. It's like,
Here's another thing.
yeah.
Geek Flag with Nate Knows makes a great point, and I'm going to take it a little bit further. He says Gunn is making things hard on himself with this rebooting the universe, or half rebooting it is more what it seems like.
Right.
He should have canceled the Peacemaker and recast Amanda Waller. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. A lot of people are saying the reason he didn't was because he's got his wife cast in that and wants to keep her. Look, you
Cast her as something else.
Character in another unit. You don't have to keep the Peacemaker in order to keep your wife.
You can cast the actress playing the Mary Marvel in the Shazam movies as Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Please cast her as
cast,
Wonder Woman.
He could cast his wife as, I don't know, Cat Grant in the Superman movies.
I think they've cast somebody else in that.
Yeah, well, that was stupid.
Look, I don't know.
Their casting has been pretty stupid, but whatever.
Getting tired of the Misfits as heroes. I suppose it is getting a bit old, but I like the fact that these are basically monsters like the old school Universal
monsters. With only a few exceptions, that was never DC's thing either. That was Marvel's thing. Marvel's thing was having the Misfits as heroes, and usually as anti-heroes. They were more morally ambiguous in the Marvel Universe. DC was always very clear, good versus evil, and almost all aspirational heroes.
You know, it's dawned on me that if this was something being done by Universal Studios with their classic monsters, I'd probably be even a lot more excited. I'd probably be clapping my hands a little bit, probably, right?
Yeah.
Could have Dracula as the main villain, maybe? I don't know. Never mind. What do I know? Creature Commandos makes more sense than the Suicide Squad. I think so. I mean, they made a point that you're not able to keep people in these scenes as well. These aren't people; they're monsters. That's what she says, which she's not wrong about.
Exactly.
Anything left on? I guess we're done with DC. Now we're moving into games. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about SNK versus Capcom, do they?
I don't even know what SNK
You don't know
is.
what this. You don't know what SNK is.
I don't think so.
You don't know what SNK is. Metal Slug.
Nope.
Samurai Showdown.
Nope.
Okay. The King of Fighters.
Definitely
Fatal Fury.
No.
Okay.
Welcome, Sasha.
This will be a good old day someday. I have to educate you on SNK. SNK they made arcade games, and they also sold a home console. The home console back in, I think, the early 90s was like $600. Cartridges were like $150. This was the rich kids console. The idea was it was giving you the arcade game in the arcade. And the cartridges were these huge cartridges that you would plug into it.
Yeah.
Okay, but they were a big deal arcade. We'll get into them another day. Anyway, SNK made fighting games, much like Capcom did with Street Fighter 2. You've heard of Street Fighter 2. And then SNK started making fighting games, and Capcom was not happy. And I think because they had I'm not going to say they were like Street Fighter because they kind of carved out their own niche, but you could tell they were taking away from the Capcom fighting games. And my initial impression was this was sort of like how Universal hated the fact that Hammer movies were making that Hammer was making their own versions of the monsters that Universal made, right? It's one of those things, right? It's like, how dare they? But eventually, Capcom and SNK must have shook hands, and Capcom made this video game called Capcom versus SNK, where you had all the Capcom fighting game characters fighting the SNK fighting game characters.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Sure.
This makes sense. It's like Marvel versus DC, if I'm going to put it in the context for you. And in turn, SNK made their own title, and they called their title SNK versus Capcom because they developed that themselves. Capcom developed the other one. Do you get it?
Yeah.
They're two versus games made by the two companies. So, but that's not okay. Okay, half the stream is left. Anyway, a poster has been. Let me read from the article though. A poster has been censored, and a trigger warning has been added to the recently released SNK versus Capcom SVC Chaos, which is a remaster of the 2003 arcade game. Ex-user revealed that a trigger warning was added to the game positing it to X, it reads, the product aims to faithfully recreate the content of the original game at the time of the release in 2003 as much as possible. Therefore, the content of this game does not represent the ideals of our company, but is provided as is, respecting the original intent of the game, and is not intended to promote or attack any particular ideology or group. On top of the trigger warning, the publisher also censors a poster for the game. The poster covers up the cleavage of Fatal Fury and King of Fighters Mai Shiranui, and it crops out Goddess Athena Asamiya, who is wearing a bikini. You can see the censorship in this.
Mm-hmm.
She's obscured, and they got rid of Mai's cleavage. Side by side, the two posters. This is from, I believe, that Park Place. Code Mystics, the game's developer, made it clear on X that they did not censor the game in any way. So the actual game content on there is not censored. Code Mystics also shared a communication with Cabrutus, that's the gentleman from Brazil. Remember, got into trouble with Sweet Baby. Yeah. The founder of Sweet Baby and Protective Curator List, that was not involved in the censoring of the poster and had nothing to do with the trigger warning. So Code Mystics were not involved. It's another situation like that Tomb Raider collection that came out by Aspire. The company informed Cabrutus Rambo, we have no involvement nor insight into marketing. The company reiterated us on X. Well, also revealed they did receive permission to make the trigger warning skippable. So I guess you can just hit a button and it goes away. Code Mystics wrote, honestly, we weren't told what it's specifically referring to, but the good news is we were asked to add it. We got permission to make disclaimer and logo skippable once the background loading is complete, so you can now get to the main menu faster because of it. Furthermore, they clarified business arrangement that they have with the publisher of the game, which is listed on SNK Corporation on Steam. The company explained on X Twitter, the publisher, as owner of the IP, hired the developers, us. So they're saying we got nothing to do with this. We as developers have never touched, nor often do we ever see the marketing in advance of any game we worked on. So here's the big question. Who did this? While Code Mystic denies being involved with the censoring of the poster, I happen to believe them. As well as the inclusion of the trigger warning, there's still a question of who did it. Did the trigger warning place in the game? Former World of Warcraft team leader Mark Kern asked, told by whom, Capcom or SNK? Capcom is the most likely culprit, given its localization team made it clear and a fully embraced woke ideology in a lengthy post to X back in April. The post states, what is localization? Embark on a global adventure through the lens of game localization. Beyond mere translation, we're driving into the art of cultural adaptation, preserving context and inclusive storytelling. Join us as we unravel the intricacies that make games resonate worldwide. You can read more of that here. I do not think this was Capcom. Because Capcom does not own this game, or they're not the people that made the game, was SNK. Now, I know SNK, I think, recently got under new owners, so it might be them. We don't know. Perhaps Capcom said put that trigger warning in there. I basically just brought this article up to say that I'm pissed and I'm not buying this game because I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah.
It was made in 2003. The world was not a horrible backwards place in 2023 and 2003, and we're all now enlightened in 2024. Please shut up. Let us play these games as they were and stop giving us these warnings. I'm done with this. I'm done with any other game that does this after release. They put a trigger warning on it. I'm done. I'm not buying it anymore. I don't care anymore. It's a bunch of BS. Z. Nobody cares. Geek Flag, you've never played an SNK arcade game? Moving on. You don't care about this either, do you? We're doing a good old days for SNK at some point.
I am very much of the mindset. I appreciate what you said at the end there. Not buying it.
I'm not buying it. I'm done. No, I'm done with the trigger warnings. I do understand your frustration, Agent Boomer. Okay. Anyway, we'll do a good old day as an SNK. Might be a few months from now. It's going to happen, though. But while you do get the cleavage censored in Capcom versus SNK,
by the way,
you get to have butt controllers on your Xbox.
Mm-hmm. if they claim that Captain America was America's ass, well, these are the multiverse's asses.
Wolverine isn't about to let Deadpool be the only cheeky one. Last week, Microsoft announced an Xbox controller dubbed the Cheeky Controller, shaped like Marvel superhero Deadpool's curvy caboose. Since Deadpool and Wolverine are starring in a movie together, fair's fair, and now Microsoft has announced a Wolverine butt-shaped controller as well. Okay, Bub, we heard you. In anticipation of Marvel Studios' Deadpool and Wolverine coming to theaters on July 26th and following the release of the Deadpool-designed custom Xbox wireless controller, fans around the globe clamor clamored for Logan's very own adamantium tough tush on a controller, of course, Microsoft said in a blog post Monday. And because we can't resist a little friendly competition, certainly not due to fear of temper, our team went straight into production of this custom Wolverine-inspired Xbox wireless controller. Both of the butts kind of look like two basketballs, to be honest, but if that's your thing, and if you're 18 or up, you can enter to win both of them. Deadpool Controller Promotion asks interested gamers to follow Xbox and X and repost the official Xbox sweepstakes post. The Wolverine promotion says you can find the designated promotion containing Microsoft Cheeky Sweepstakes from Microsoft and Instagram and follow instructions there. It didn't appear to be live on Monday morning Pacific time. But if you read the fine print for the giveaway, it looks like the winner gets both controllers plus a custom Xbox and custom Xbox stand. I've reached out to Microsoft to confirm details of the giveaway and whether it's just one winner or one for each superhero. So you're not going to be able to, I don't think you're going to be able to buy these in stores or online. It's a contest.
Right.
Xbox has done custom consoles before. One of the coolest I ever seen them do was a Godzilla console they made that you could win in a contest. And I think it even lit up. Like it had like the you know, the what do you call them? What's on his back? Fins? Whatever those things are on Godzilla's back. They glowed when you turned the console on. It was neat.
Yeah. I don't know what you call them, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, Joshua V. Are you excited for the butt controllers?
I mean, I'm not. But, you know, I get it. It's a thing. It's definitely on brand for Deadpool, so yeah.
They do look hard to hold on to, unless they're form-fitting when they're squishy when you touch them back. Let's not go there.
Oh,
anyway,
that would be brilliant.
Oh no, dorsal Pilates. Yes, the truth comes out. This is the real reason you like films about the heroes less applies. Oh, that's funny. Anyway, what straight guy would want these controllers? You know, you didn't see me saying I'm going to enter the contest. I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah, well, what you do is you enter the contest so you can put them up on eBay.
You get this, but you can't get sexy women backdrops on your consoles anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
The world has changed. Anyway. Oh no! I almost feel
you asked for it, you got it, my friend.
I almost feel bad about posting that image because this is a what were they thinking moment. The 2024 Olympics opening ceremony in Paris have sparked international outrage with drag queen themed imagery of religious and historical figures. In between listing all the countries participating in the Olympic Games, there have been several performances riffing on France's history and culture, such as the headless Marie Antoinette, the last queen prior to being executed amid the French Revolution, singing with her severed head in her hands, sporting drag-style makeup. We'll get to that in a minute. This was part of numerous drag queens that appear to be a recurring theme throughout the ceremonies. 3 drag queens were among the 10,000 torchbearers who relayed the Olympic flame as it started in Greece, passing through French territories, and made its way to Paris. And you thought things were messed up in the United States. One new display on Friday showed what appeared to be numerous performers, including drag queens and a large woman in an aerial halo crown parodying the Last Supper, a universally recognized painting by Renaissance artist Leonardo da Vinci of Christ and his apostles. Yes, so that's not even a French painting.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Many internationally known political figures, particularly from American politics, condemned the display as a sign of the cultural rot in Western civilization. Men in wigs front and center of the Olympic Games, Outkicks Riley Gaines wrote in a social media post, "No one ever tell me this group is oppressed or marginalized again." Tesla founder Elon Musk, also, who bought the X platform, criticized the display, saying this was extremely disrespectful to Christians. Harrison Butker, the NFL player who made headlines with his speech about Catholic faith, quoted scripture to condemn the display. "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For what things a man shall sow, those shall he reap. For he that soweth in his flesh, or the flesh, shall also reap corruption, but that soweth in the Spirit, of the Spirit shall reap life everlasting." That's from Galatians. Ex-transgender influencer Oli London described the scene as Olympics openly mock Jesus' Last Supper as drag queens dressed as women play the role of disciples while a plus-size woman appears in the middle, symbolizing Jesus wearing a giant crown. The Olympics has basically turned into a one long drag show. Anti-woke cultural commentator Libs of TikTok wrote, "The Olympics has gone completely woke." What the hell is going on at the Olympics? Video journalist Nick sort of wrote, no wonder nobody bothers watching them anymore. I want to take a break here for a sec. I feel really bad for the athletes you're training all your life to win the gold, and then this is kind of upset by this nonsense. The transnational left have contempt for Western civilization. Judicial Watch President Tom Filton. Do you remember years back when you had the London Olympics and how respectful the opening ceremony was to English culture and history?
Yeah.
As I remember, you had the Queen. They did a funny thing with Daniel Craig as James Bond. Okay, we got to drop you off the stadium, Queen, and like it looked like James Bond was carrying the Queen as they parachuted into the into the proceedings,
that
which obviously wasn't her,
funny,
but it was funny. I thought. I remember when that ended, when they did. Here where the next Olympic Games are going to be in Tokyo. They had, I think what was it? I think the Prime Minister of Japan popping out of the Mario pipe, from Super Mario Brothers.
Right.
It's about talking about the good. I don't know what this is doing.
Well, here's the one thing I wanted to say. I mean, yeah, all of it's stupid.
I'm going to get into the Marie Antoinette one too. Yeah.
Peak. What do you call it? Peak woke. But yeah, okay. I'll wait until we get to the next article before I.
Let's just do this one. Let's get it over with. But I made a point that as someone make finance and culture commentator Wall Street Silver argue this represents the worst aspects of modern France. At least China showed the best of their country during their Olympics, he noted. France seems determined to show the weakest and worst parts of their country during their Olympics. So let's move on to the other opening ceremony article, and let's move on to that. This is just... it's funny. What are we more upset about? I guess the Last Supper was for a lot of people, and I guess you should be. The headless Marie Antoinette singing, which I think is this another guy in drag doing this too?
I think so. Yeah.
The opening ceremony is underway for the Paris Olympics, and heads were turned early on. Not funny, man. Okay, in between listing all of the countries participating in the games. Oh, I see. They just said turned. Okay. There have been several performances that represent France's history and culture. Well, shortly after Lady Gaga's performance, the ceremony included a headless Marie Antoinette, the last queen prior to the French Revolution, married to Louis XVI after being found guilty in a trial in 1793. Marie Antoinette was famously sentenced to death by means of the guillotine. The nod to the queen received plenty of reaction. Another post written in French translated, up until then, I thought it wasn't bad, but the guillotine of Marie Antoinette at the window saying it'll be okay with the blood fireworks at the end is atrocious. One more post was translated to it being despicable. Said in a separate post in French, red card to the morbid representation of Marie Antoinette guillotined in a window of the Palais de Justice in Paris. We have abolished the death penalty and we celebrate in front of the world. The headless queen transitioned right into the performance by French rock band Gojira. There was yet another nod to the French lifestyle, though, as the ceremony depicted a menage a trois. Is that? I don't have pictures of that, man. I don't think I should be posting those.
Yeah, probably best. Yeah.
Like the Queen, there was a decent mix of both hilarity and negativity. The rain has begun to pour down in Paris, but the ceremony is ongoing. Despite the ceremony, maybe take the rain as a hint. Despite the ceremony taking place on Friday, events have started early on Wednesday, including the United States women's soccer victory over Zambia. This, in my opinion, I didn't see England having a thing of Anne Boleyn's head getting cut off at their intro ceremony. I don't see like John Wilkes Booth pulling the trigger in our intro ceremony. I don't know why this is here. Why is this being celebrated?
I'll tell you exactly why. This is actually so obvious they don't even realize this. So as George Santayana famously said, those who will not remember history are doomed to repeat it. This is modern day France's let 'em eat cake. And they don't realize how on the nose they are by doing this. This is a great representation of their minority government.
Yeah,
really. These are governments.
Because I'd like to think the majority of French thought this was disgusting too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this falls into the greater context of their current politics there. The vast majority of the citizens of France are not on board with what their government is doing. And I honestly think that France is gearing up for a Reign of Terror 2.0. And the government thinks this is funny. Are you going to think it's very funny when your head is in your hands?
Apparently, there were numerous of these headless Marie Antoinettes around the field too. What?
Yeah, well, it won't be too long before there will be numerous modern day politicians in the same circumstance. I'm just going to say that.
Who okayed this? I got to tell you, it's probably going to be a long time before the Olympics goes back to France, unless the Olympic Committee likes this sort of thing.
Well, and
I
that's
think
the funny
this
thing too,
distracts
right?
from the competition. I don't understand this
because the Olympics it tends to be fairly globalist too, and even they're like, hello, you know.
I mean, this is like a snuff film. This is ridiculous. I have no idea. I don't even like looking at this image anymore. I'm going to go. Okay, but
well, it's like a snuff film.
Both images are horrible. This is
gay adult, entertainment.
What you do in your private residence or even in private clubs, that's one thing. You don't need to be having it on display in the, out here at frankly an event that should be enjoyed by everyone, including families. This is supposed to be a big moment for France in the Olympic Games, and I'm thinking, you have people like the women's soccer team and that woman from Hong Kong that won the fencing, and it should be about that, not about this awful stuff. But I'm just okay. Anyway, anything left to say on this?
Not at all. I
want to move on from that. Oh, last story. Yeah. Look at that. See, here's the thing. Here we have a horror gory series coming out called Teacup. Yeah. But that's the thing. It's what it is, and you don't have to watch this. It's a horror series. Kind of like when I watch Shudder, and they have things on Shudder, like they have drag material on Shudder. I'm not watching it, but I'll say at least on there, this is an R-rated channel. Right. Maybe that's where this content belongs, not on something like Disney or Paramount Plus or something like that. So, I could not agree with it, but still, I don't know. Maybe you know what? The chips are going to fall where they may. I'm not. It's not like Buffalo people defend the stuff I love. Well, that sounds right. Teacup, Peacock's gory horror series unveils October premiere and terrifying Comic-Con footage. Teacup. I was saying Teacup. Okay. I watched Beverly Hills Axelef last night. Beverly Hills Cop Axelef. Teacup has set its spooky debut. UCP's horror thriller will premiere its first 2 episodes on Peacock Thursday, October 10th, following 2 episodes weekly. The final 2 will stream on Halloween. The news was announced at San Diego Comic-Con on Thursday, July 24th, during a panel featuring executive producer James Wan, executive producer and showrunner Ian McCullough, and stars Yvonne Strahovski. I should know how to spell her name. She was on Chuck.
Oh, right.
Chuck? Yeah. Scott Speedman and Chasky Spencer. Wan is best known for co-creating the Saw and Insidious franchises and creating the Conjuring universe. It's interesting. I saw Scott Speedman in a David Cronenberg movie recently. It was Crimes of the Future. Mm-hmm. He's an underrated actor. I think he mainly played pretty boys in movies, but he's actually pretty good actor in his own right. He was in those Vampire versus the Werewolf pictures. Mm-hmm. But during the panel, multiple clips were shown for the audience in Ballroom 20, giving a sneak peek of what's to come. While one was edited down to be less gory and disturbing, it was still very gory and very disturbing, proving to be a very Wan-like project. The crowd was asked not to spoil any specifics. Teacup, inspired by Robert McCammon's best-selling novel Stinger, follows a disparate group of people in rural Georgia who must come together in the face of a mysterious threat in order to survive. However, very few details are revealed, so much so that it becomes a running joke during the hour-long conversation. Wan was excited right away to talk about by the book Stinger, noting that his production company Atomic Monster felt the spark immediately. The story has all the ingredients for a captivating series, and Ian McCullough had a vision to bring it to life in a fresh way that was both startling and darkly atmospheric, but filled with a rich sense of humanity, often lacking in edgy narratives, he said. So this means the characters may actually be likable.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'll be tragic when bad things happen to them. Kind of like those early Living Dead films, or at least the movie Dawn of the Dead by George Romero. I felt
Right.
I liked all four of the characters in that movie, even when they kind of went off the edge. I felt bad for them.
And
Yeah.
I will say, even to the later Walking Dead type or Living Dead type films, they did tend to be standalone. You didn't have characters usually carrying over. You were supposed to loosely assume they were taking place in the same world, the same zombie invasion thing, but it was always different characters, so it became somewhat anthology-ish. So
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. And that's not the track The Walking Dead took. Of course, I think maybe it is taking it now because now they're sending all the characters off on their own stories, I think. But
right.
Eurovision reported record low for viewership. Oh, that's for the Olympics. Yeah. Well, people probably heard it and said to stay away because this is something. Used to watch the Olympics for fun and to support your country.
Right.
And to honor the other athletes around the world too, but you just I just don't get it. Okay, one added that the show defies easy labels, falling into multiple genres, horror, mystery, and drama with layers that unfold like captivating puzzles. It goes beyond chills and thrills and holds up a mirror to humanity, exploring the darkness that resides within us all. McCullough says that he's not a spectacular writer. He was initially interested in adapting the novel, but here's the thing. I read Stinger, and it stayed with me, wouldn't leave me alone. I just couldn't stop thinking about its razor-sharp premise, how it unfolds over the course of a single harrowing day, and about the relatable and real family McCammon puts center stage. I want to read this book now.
Yeah.
But that's when the flashbang light bulb idea hit. What if I adapted Stinger in a way that honors the book and stays true to the kinds of stories I like to tell? Keep the conceit, keep Stinger's most effective elements, take away the large ensemble, take away the giant set pieces, even take away the book's crowded town setting. Okay. So at least I think he's being honest.
Yeah.
So it might be good. I don't know. This was originally going to be my only Comic-Con story, and then we found more. But because I'm like, it's another dead Comic-Con this year, and then Marvel jumped with everything.
Yeah, but again, I still say on the Marvel side, I think it's a lot of hype for a bunch of crap that isn't going to be any better than it ever was.
Do you hear the people singing the songs of angry men? Wow, they could have done a performance of that show at the Paris opening ceremony.
All with the trannies.
All with the what?
All with trannies.
Well, they could have done it with, like the Broadway cast. Maybe they could have reunited some of the Broadway cast if they're around, or the current never mind.
On my own, pretending I'm a girly.
Underworld films, thank you, D. Pensek. I don't know why. My brain's probably going. Underworld movies. You like the Underworld movies?
Those are the ones with Kate Beckinsale?
Yes.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, Scott Speedman, he was the love interest in the first one. The one that was the hybrid, I think.
Right.
Whatever, yeah. And then they did, and funny because the same guy that made those made the movie I, Frankenstein, which also starred Yvonne Strahovski.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if he's involved in this. It seems interesting. You have similar casting going on. Okay. There we go. At the 11 o'clock mark. That's why I didn't do a good old days tonight. But
not bad. You did good.
I'm breathless. It's feast or famine with stories. There have been weeks where Troy and I are trying to find stories.
Yeah.
And this week we got a ton because we had the whole NBA thing with Warner Media, which I thought might have been the biggest story of the week, but maybe you might have a different.
I mean, from a financial point of view, it really kind of is.
There are days I try to figure out, do I hate any of the companies or do I just mock them when they keep screwing up and I want to see them return to their greater glory? Disney, I think, is particularly odious because especially how they treated people like Gina Carano. That's my beef with them. Zaslav. See, at least when they got rid of Henry Cavill, they didn't try to ruin his career.
Right.
Do you understand?
Exactly.
It was very respectful. They didn't make it and even though I do think that what he got was a soft, I do think Henry Cavill's going through a soft cancellation. He hasn't done anything wrong for them to get him on, but they suspect he's a Gina Carano type.
Yeah.
I guess that's probably what they think. Well, I need to head to bed, so this is convenient. Yeah, I'm getting tired too, but we got through this week. Oh, Oh yeah, Kate Beckinsale, me like a lot. She's very good in those movies. She wearing that leather outfit and killing the lichens, right? Isn't she a
Right.
lichen hunter?
Exactly.
Which side were you on, the lichens or the vampires?
I mean, maybe I'm the weird one. I was kind of on the human side.
Oh, those they're the prize.
They're dinner, right?
They're dinner.
Exactly.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. Ah, but then there's I Frankenstein, which was the Frankenstein monster. But then there's also a war between angels and demons, I think, going on, and it's this. Have you seen I Frankenstein?
I haven't, but I think I'm gonna have to check this out.
It's interesting. That might
Yeah.
be one for you to revisit, maybe around Halloween time. Yeah, it was.
Sounds good.
It was a way for them to sort of turn Frankenstein into a heroic type character.
Yeah.
And they actually gave reasons for it, because they said, because he doesn't have a soul, and the angels were arguing, yes, but he murdered his creator and all this, yes, but he was not given the soul. He was not. That's
yeah,
why.
it's really hard to hold him responsible for a conscience.
They were basically saying he was not responsible for that, and they were trying to reason with him to be on their side.
It was literally an empty shell, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed I Frankenstein. It was interesting, and the demons I Frankenstein so bad it's good. You know what it is? It's quirky and weird, and I'm glad movies like that still exist. Like they're the modern B movies that we used to like. She was a death dealer. Did I anyway?
Was that the title? I mean, that was
I
that the
thought
title?
she was a
within the
death
world?
dealer, but maybe I don't know. I used to be human side, then I saw the Olympics opening ceremony. Yeah, basically,
Good point.
really bad.
Well, don't turn on the human race because the French have lost their mind.
Do you think, does France think that makes them look good to the rest of the world, non-Christian
I think
countries?
a lot of these
no one respects you over that.
a lot of these institutions that have become, plagued by the woke are so behind the curve they don't even realize. A lot of companies are realizing this is not a winner for them and pivoting away. And it took, things like Bud Light and whatnot for them to realize, okay, this is not good. Let's stop this. And the companies that are making the pivot away are the ones that will still be around in 20, 30, 40 years. The ones that don't are going to be absorbed by the ones that survive, or they're going to go away completely.
Yeah, more and more I feel like Angel when he locked the lawyers from Wolfram Hart in with the murderous vampires. You know what I always found fascinating, especially in the final season of Angel, that he was basically having to do things that were almost a little untoward because he was trying to basically destroy Wolfram Hart.
Right.
Because he's already
it was
in there,
very
yes.
clear
Yes.
that the powers that be behind Wolfram and Hart were literally doing the Emperor thing. Right, turning him to the dark side.
Remember, they made him kill that guy by drinking his blood, but then it was revealed later, well, this guy was going to die from his wounds anyway. So he did that to look good in front of them, and it was all about bringing the fight. That had a great series finale, the big fight with Wolfram and Hart. I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
But France has been a debauchery capital of the West since the Enlightenment. Just ask John Adams how he thought of them. I should read up on that. Maybe it's in that Adams book that the series was based off of. Yeah. Because I'm sorry, this is wrong. And then they had the Revolution, which Robespierre.
Yup.
A lot of people got killed. And then he got killed too, I believe, too.
Well,
right?
and
the
that's
mob
the way it always
turns on
goes.
you. Yeah.
And this is what, everyone is trying to tell the modern socialists. You're trying to... You make comments about, I wish they hadn't missed and blah, 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 and this and that. It's like, do you understand that when your revolution comes... the people that take over will then execute all of you. It has happened over and over and over again in history, and you all refuse to learn. You keep saying, well, it's like the person that goes to the refrigerator and finds the milk is turned chunky. And they go, oh, this is terrible. Well, I'll just put this back, and maybe it'll be better tomorrow.
Yeah. Ridiculous. I'm with the English, down with the French. Well, I hope that the French populace subdues these weirdos, because I'd like to think that the majority are not like
guys,
this. And frankly, if they are, this is like a...
Don't let anyone tell you that this is now, what do you have? Fascism versus democracy. This is left versus right. This is whatever it is. No, this is globalism versus populism.
Yeah. Before the Enlightenment, they were great. They had the most Crusaders, Charlemagne, Joan of Arc. They had some very respectable royalty, like the noblesse oblige. Doesn't that come from France?
Mm-hmm.
Noblesse oblige. Like if you're a monarch, you are obligated to take care of the people, and,
right?
And that came from them. And I do believe that was a tradition followed by some monarchs. We always think, oh, monarchy bad, but not always. I think
the problem though is that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yes,
I don't care how benevolent your dictator is; they are eventually corrupted by their own power.
Anyway, that's it for Geeky Geezers. What we got coming up past midnight?
Nothing tonight.
Well, that's right, because deleted scenes had his the jury thing. So yeah,
exactly. So I'll be looking forward to seeing if any great civic stories come out of that. But we'll probably get that next week for Unscripted. We'll see. But so nothing tonight. Let's make it an early night and get to bed.
If that's changed, deleted scenes, let us know in the chat, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yes.
Tomorrow, Monday night at the movies, join us for a Stallone dystopia double feature. We'll be watching Demolition Man and Judge Dredd.
Thank you, Leia Plus Size. It's funny because the good old days for tonight was going to be talking about a dystopian movie also, but maybe we'll save that for next week.
Right.
Okay. Unless something happens, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leia Plus Size. So that'll be the Stallone dystopian double feature. Yeah. I remember when Demolition Man was previewed, and I kept thinking, oh, that's that Judge Dredd movie I've heard them rumor that he's making. Because back then we had these things called magazines, and you would find out about movies from those, or TV.
Exactly.
Then I was like, oh, Demolition Man, that's the Judge Dredd movie. And like, oh, no, that's a different thing.
And then, but the reason I'm playing them back to back is because you're going to get to see how many similarities there are. It's almost like they remade one movie with the other.
If you watch Judge Dredd, though, that Stallone one, it's one of the last instances of really state-of-the-art practical effects before Hollywood really started leaning into CG.
That is true.
So it's very interesting from that. Oh, excuse from Journey. I'm going to take the night off, though. I think you've earned a deleted scenes. You're one of the busiest men on YouTube. So
right. Exactly right.
Maybe watch a movie before bedtime or something.
I'll tell you what. If it hadn't been for the day that I had, I was telling Boomer back in the green room. I had family come in from out of town this weekend. And I was getting some time with them today, but it was like a full day for us. And I was pretty exhausted. Otherwise, maybe I would have just done a pop-up stream
gotcha.
Tonight to fill the void. But I'm kind of too exhausted for that.
Everyone take the night off. Maybe watch some of the episodes of The Unexplained with host William Shatner.
Oh, there you go.
What's
caught up on Cobra Kai and Outer Range?
I got 2 episodes left of that, Cobra Kai. So
there you go.
What else is going on this week, though? On Tuesday, we're going to be on Deleted Scenes channel for Sparkwood and 21.
Yeah. So this is nice. We're on to for me. This is like disc 3, and disc 3 gets away from the goofy putting 2 episodes together thing. What it does instead is it puts 3 episodes on a disc. So what I did was I just ripped the disc and re-encoded all 3 of them. So I got the next 3 seasons, or 3 seasons, 3 weeks ready to go for the Cosme rewatch. But yes, we will be on episode 5. Last week we Deleted Scenes said mentioned 3 guest appearances that he's been looking forward to. One of them debuted in last week's episode, and another one will be debuting in tomorrow's episode. So if you are at all interested in Twin Peaks, whether you enjoyed it years ago or you've been intimidated and not wanting to make that plunge, this is the stream for you, because you can watch along with us, and we will help you get caught up.
We'll help you understand as much as we can, because we still don't understand it. Anyway,
yeah, and it's in a very good way. It is a lot of it is very abstract. So it's got a lot of, I'd say it's got infinite rewatchability. And every single time you watch it, you'll get something new. You almost feel like you're watching a whole different show as you think it through from a different perspective. So that's why one of the reasons I love Twin Peaks so much, and trying to share it with all of you. So that is Tuesday, Deleted Scenes channel, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern.
So when you flee the city of Paris as the hellfire and brimstone falling around you, remember not to look back lest you become a pillar of salt. I hate to say this. You're saying what everyone's thinking, and seriously, France, you've got to take a look in the mirror and decide where you're going from here, because where you're headed is not good if you don't turn yourself
Where you're
around.
headed is not good.
Yes. No one fully understands David Lynch, probably including David Lynch. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. We love David Lynch. I'm just kidding. I do.
I will argue on that he has an intent, but he reserves the right to change that intent as he goes.
Yes. So this brings us to Thursday for
on
Network,
Netters Network.
Thursday's things. Yes.
She will be interviewing Rod Thunderheart.
Excellent.
Looking forward to that. That is 9 Central over on 9 Central, 10 Eastern
going to be some,
over on Netters Network.
Sounds like a wrestler name.
It is a wrestler name, in fact. We will talk about his history with professional wrestling.
Excellent.
And writing and a whole bunch of other things. It'll be a lot of fun.
Love wrestling. Used to love watching wrestling. Okay, then moving on to Friday.
Now Friday, I know that
You forgot again, didn't you?
I did.
We're doing a stream about dreams.
No, not us. Before us.
Oh, Big Al. That's right. Humanoids
Big
from
Al
the Deep.
has a stream with Deleted Scenes.
Humanoids from the Deep. The Roger Corman.
Good memory.
Produced,
Good.
Yes. I remember some things. Yes, Humanoids from the Deep, and that's a great little horror movie. I think a good one for the summer too.
Yeah, I think that's like
it's
7 Central. I want to say 8 Eastern, something like that.
It's going to be 7 Eastern Standard Time. Yes. And then, but
so
it's a good.
Check that out on Big Al Presents.
Good classic Roger Corman movie. Yeah. Well, not Roger Corman produced. He didn't direct it, but yeah.
But then yes, last call this week, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. We will be discussing a pretty weighty topic. If you really want to think about it, we're going to be talking about dreams.
And maybe some of you in the chat, if you want to share your dreams, we could maybe talk about those too. I'm looking to see if we can find some recurring dreams.
Dreams
that other people often
some
have.
Disturbing nightmares.
Yes.
One of the things I'm going to talk about in regards to nightmares, I don't think enough people talk about, is how oftentimes you have a nightmare, and if you were to narrate that dream to somebody and hear it out loud, you would be like, well, what the hell was scary about that? Sometimes you can have horrifying nightmares where it's not the content of the dream that's scaring you. It's just this sense of dread within the dream that you have.
Good point.
Yep, we'll be talking about all that kind of stuff. Probably a little stream of consciousness, which should be very interesting as I drink more on Friday.
It's funny. I need to watch this clip, but the Beyond the Hub, I think the co-host was talking about how he did he tried lucid dreaming once, and it was a bad experience. He never tried again. I should watch that before the stream. Maybe he'll have some insight. Lucid dreaming is something I'll never try. It terrifies me. Do you know what that is?
I have never gone out of my way to do it, but I have on a number of occasions had lucid dreams and taken advantage of that opportunity.
That would be a great double feature for a Monday sometime. You could do Dreamscape. Yep. Remember that movie? And do it with Waking Life, which was the Richard Linklater weird animated one, and it's all about dreams.
Oh, see, I was thinking Dreamscape and Inception.
Well, that's also about dreams, but yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. I was a lucid dreamer, not on purpose, till I turned 18. Interesting. So I guess you don't have control of that. Yeah, if you tune in Friday, maybe you'll have some insights to give us in the chat.
Yeah.
All right, but and that brings us to Saturday. Is that going to be on Netters Network?
Over on Netters Network. Double stream because Netter and I are celebrating our 32nd 32nd. 32nd wedding anniversary. But we will be celebrating by watching with all of you Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Doesn't that sound romantic? Yeah, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Steve Martin and is that Michael Caine? No, Michael Caine. I forget.
Yes, I think so.
It's been so long, but that's why we do this, because it's been so long I haven't seen it. But yeah,
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Yes. I'm getting that confused with the one with Kirk Douglas and the other guy when they get out of prison. That's a different one. This December we'll be celebrating our 23rd wedding anniversary. Well, congratulations! I will, at least in December. That'll be excellent.
Congratulations! There you go. There you go. But
that brings us to Sunday.
And that brings us back around to Sunday with all the deleted scenes content and all the Geeky Geezers.
Oh man, I have to do this
news
again.
That we don't know about yet coming up this week.
No, next week is a 2-hour retrospective on SNK, so you look forward to that. I'm kidding, of course.
You know, I forgot. I have something I got to do next week.
You know what I'll do? I'm not going to do a retrospective. Maybe I don't know.
We can make it the good old days.
Not for next week. I have something else planned, or
okay.
we may have something that we want to theme because something may come up that we have to talk about. All right.
Oh yeah, good.
Talk to you all later. Y'all have a good week, and still don't know about this Dr. Doom, Robert Downey Jr. I don't know.
There you go.
There we go. End stream.